Welcome to KiteFoil World Series, Gizzeria in the far south of Italy. We're on the third day of the competition and racing is going very, very nicely in 13 to 16 knots of wind from about 285 degrees, blazing sunshine and air temperature of about 32 degrees. Hi, my name's Andy Rice and this is Mirko Babini, president of the IKA. And I don't know about you, Mirko, but I am sweltering. The English blood is not quite used to this heat.
Yes, but I guess for many people is exactly the same problem. Is quite warm on those days, but at least we get used to. After 3 days now it's getting better and better, and likely we have a nice breeze.
Yeah, well, we sure do have a nice breeze, and Gizzeria is known for being really reliable, and that's what we've had for the last 2 days of competition. We're into day 3 now, and we're coming up to the business end of the competition. We've got 96 riders from 21 nations representing 5 different continents. So this is a truly world-class contest. And the thing is that this is a really, really difficult racetrack in the sense that, Mirko, it's an easy racetrack. Everyone is going fast, which means the difference between the better riders and the less good riders is really, really narrow. And a lot of different people are having a go at the front. There's not a clear pattern emerging, really.
Yeah, you know, just to mention other sport, like motorsport, when Formula One, they're playing in a really fast circuit. All of the good rider, the good driver, and the good car, they're always super fast. And the small things make the difference. Exactly what happened here in Gizzeria. All the riders here, they are the best. They are the best in the world. What's happened here, you have a slightly good breeze, some current on the top. The course and the wind direction is almost the same every day. So small difference, small setup, small mistake can pay to the rider quite a lot of distance. This is why we have one first and just a couple of races after maybe score a 5th, because the difference is really narrow.
And just coming across the finish line, you'll see them emerge, but behind that black Porsche tent in our image at the moment. There we are now. Those are the 2 women leading race 12, just crossing the finish line. And I think, I don't know this for sure, but it looked to me like Lauriane Nolot might have won that race just ahead of Daniela Moroz from USA, the 5-time world champion who won here in Gizzeria last year.
Yes, it was Lauriane Nolot, I can confirm, and straight behind Daniela Moroz. So now with another bullet, Lauriane Nolot, she's leading the series now here in Gizzeria.
She's won the last 4 races, so there's things are really going well for her. In the yellow jersey there, the yellow bib, that's Ellie Aldridge. Had a fantastic day yesterday. The British rider won her first race in the KiteFoil World Series in quite a long time, and then followed it up with another one, and that was good enough to give her the yellow bib. But the way that Lauriane Nolot is going today, I wonder if it's going to be Nolot wearing the bib tomorrow. And of course, the way that this medal series format works on the final day is it's critical if you want to get one of the spots in the 4-board final. One of the easiest way, not easy, but one of the best ways to do that is to come top 2 in the qualifying. And at the moment, it's those 2 riders that finished first and second, Nolot from France and Moroz from the USA, who would be taking those automatic buys through to the final, to the 4-board final. So if you don't make it through on that, at the very least, you want to get through in the top 10, because the way that it's structured on the final day, if you come in 10th, if you sail out of your skin on the final day and win a series of races, you can still win overall. So it's a really well-balanced final day format. But right now, Lauriane Nolot is the rider in form in the female KiteFoil racing.
Yes, he's totally right. And then it's impressive the day 1 for her. She struggled a bit to fine-tuning, like we said, the kite, maybe the foil, all small thing. And then as far as she got what she need, on the last 4 races, she got a good pace, because now there is no way that Daniela, she's always behind, try to beat her, but it seems now she continues score 1-1-1. So let's see. Let's see next.
Well, Nolo has been. She no, Nolo also beat Daniela Moroz in Campione recently. I wasn't there, Mocha, but I think you were there in Campione.
Yes, I was there running races on the middle of the lake. Was amazing, also amazing 3 days. And Lorion, she was really massive on that. Super, a lot of consistency on the races, and she's really tough. I must say that she's improving every single race. She wants to challenge herself quite hard.
I think she's got to get tougher. Just speaking to Lauriane, I think there are some areas where she needs to work on. I'm going to come back to that because let's look at the highlights from day 0 because it will give us an insight into Daniela Moroz and just how good this American rider is. Let's find out more about her from her now.
We are here for the Act 2 of the KiteFoil World Series 2022 in Gizzeria. We have such a good forecast for the event. The sun is here, we have a lot of wind. We are looking for really good tight racing with all of the top guys. The overall speed is really high this year, and yeah, it's going to be really tough.
We are here in Gizzeria for the second stop of the 2022 KiteFoil World Series. It's one of my favorite venues of the tour, so I'm very excited to be here. I started kitefoiling internationally and competing internationally back in 2015. And since I won my first World Championship in 2016, I won every single regatta after that up until Lake Tronze, which was the last stop of the KiteFoil World Series. And it was 32 consecutive international regattas, which is quite a lot. But yeah, now the sport is just getting so much more competitive and the margins are closer and the racing is much tighter, which is very exciting and it's great for the sport and really pushes me to become just a better athlete. But now it's just a different game and I really hope that I can come back to this event with a little bit better speed and just better overall. And I'm very much looking forward to getting back to my original winning ways.
So that puts into perspective just how dominant Daniela Moroz has been in women's kiteboarding over the last 6 years. And so for the first time in those 6 years, she was beaten at the previous KiteFoil Series World event in Traunsee in Austria. That was a really, really tricky event where there was barely enough wind to get foiling and to get kiting. So it was a very short series. So a little bit unusual, but Julia Damasiewicz, the 18-year-old from Poland, did fantastically well to win that event. And there wasn't luck involved in that. That was just really good, smart sailing in really tricky conditions. And Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain got the silver there. And then for the first time in a long time, in 6 years, Daniela Moroz didn't make the top of the podium, but she got the bronze. Those are the standings overall so far. So that is purely from Traunsee. So we'll see things change a little bit after Gizzeria. Unfortunately, Julia Damasiewicz is injured, so she's not competing in Gizzeria. But that will maybe give the opportunity for Moroz to get back to the top again. But Lauriane Nelot currently in 8th from Traunsee. She didn't have a very good event in Traunsee. And I just wanted to talk about, you said that Lauriane is tough. I think she's getting tougher, but she likes her certain conditions. And what she doesn't like about the racing in Gizzeria is the length of the races. Sometimes they're running 16 or 17 minutes long. And in this heat, and doing what we call a wall sit. You know, when you sort of training for skiing, you sit with your back against the wall and you do a squat for 15 or 16 minutes. That is really, really hard. But that's basically what these riders are doing, and all of them are feeling it. And Lauriane said yesterday, I'm not sure if I'm coming back to Gizzeria next year. I wonder if since in the last 24 hours, maybe she's changed her mind, because she keeps on winning race after race.
I'm pretty sure she was lying because at the end of the day, they really will love, and they really will see how it's going to be the improvement on their performance after 4 full days of racing and training here in Gizzeria with an average of 80 to 100 kilometers on foil. You can imagine how nice training, big training, all the things that you need to improve yourself, your skill and your performance. Gizzeria has it. Gizzeria delivered it. So all those riders, they will notice their improvement in the next few days. And then if he's going to win, she will definitely come back again.
I think so. And yeah, even if she didn't win, I would hope that she would be back next year, because quite apart from this being a high-level competition in itself, let's also remember what the KiteFoil World Series offers to these riders. It's a great opportunity for development of equipment. You're not constricted by the same rules that you have in Formula Kite. Here you can bring pretty much any equipment you want, and you can put it on a world-class test track and you can see how it's performing. And unlike Trounsey, where there is the wind is very unstable and you never know where the next lull or the gust is coming from, here you can't ask for steadier conditions than what you find in Gizzeria. So if you've got new equipment that you want to try, this is the place to do it. And we spoke to Flo Gruber about this a couple of days ago. Flo Gruber, the granddaddy of the sport. I like to joke with him. He's not even 30 years old yet. But let's hear what Flo has to say about the KiteFoil World Series in Gizzeria.
Look good. We want it to stay like this. Good luck for everyone.
Yeah, the first time I went here with tube kites and race boards still, I was a young kid, but I already entered the top 10 at that time, so at the Kite Tour Europe. So yeah, I tried to learn from the top guys at that time. I think the big benefit of the World Series for kiteboarding is that we are not stopping. Every year we make another step with the equipment, with the performance of all the gear. And I think no other sailing class has exactly like that you are at the same sport with open and registered classes. And I think that's a big game changer for us, and we are really good in that. And I think it will bring the sport every year one step ahead.
Last year I won this event. I was first big win in my career, pretty much because I was super consistent, no crashes, and I was able to fight until the last race. The first stop of the World Series in Austria, we just had it a little over a month ago. It was super tricky conditions with the light wind, barely keeping the kites in the sky, big shifts of wind, so lots of tactics and lots of luck were involved. Compared to this event in Gizzeria, where you have really consistent wind, very obvious tactics, flat water, no bags, nothing, and everyone can perform their peak performance, and it's going to be very, very small margins of who's going to be first, who's going to be second or third.
Right, so Dennis Taradin, winner last year, and as of race 12, now moves back into the lead. Let's bring up the results and see how the standings are looking in the men because Denis Taradin had to give away the yellow bib this morning to Tony Vodisek, but now Taradin back in the lead by 2 points from Vodisek and a bit of a gap back to Lorenzo Boschetti in third place. So things are beginning to turn into a bit of a match race. It looks like Taradin and Vodisek are going to be the two that get that automatic buy through to the four-board final tomorrow afternoon. But we still do have 3 more races this afternoon. We're going to be bringing you race 13 of the men in the next few minutes. So meanwhile, it's up to Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi, another Italian, the 16-year-old, to see if they can close the gap on the Cypriot and the Slovenian riders currently in first and second. Now, one of the real themes that we've seen this week in Gizzeria, Mirko, is the port tack start. Some riders were saying even before they came here that they were concerned about the port tack start. It's got such a reputation for it. Explain to us what it is about Gizzeria that makes the port tack start so important.
It's just simple. Because the wind is a thermal wind, and then we have all the coastline, all the beaches that goes all the way and rounding, going a little bit toward to the wind direction. So there is a kind of a bend of the wind flow close to the shore. So if you start on port, then you can continue go all the way and try to hit the ley line close to the shore, which help you not being affected too much by the current, and also get the right wind that bend you, and then you are allowed to go closer to the upwind mark without doing more space, so less distance. So all these things together, it make you the possibility to make a plan, to have the choice to start on port. Obvious depends on how the bias on the starting line is going to be. This is why our director is super great, and sometimes he try not to give too much bias and for the port starter, and sometimes it works, sometimes less. But when there is some brave guy and they know that they will get an advantage, they definitely go on port, just because it's better to do the first the first part close to the shore.
It's been an absolute feature of the last few days, and we spoke to a few of the riders about this. Axel Mazzella says he will never go near a port tack start again after a bad experience here last year. And then we've got other people that have tried it for the first time, like Jesse Cameron. Let's hear what they had to say.
Didn't really have the courage to start on port. I found it way too scary, especially to try and cross in front of the fleet. So I just kind of always crossed that off my list. Gizzeria is well known to favour the right-hand side of the racecourse, and I really hesitated, and then I just thought it's too late to turn back, so I went for it and found my spot, and it was fine. So I just gave it a go, and I ended up fine with clean air.
We want to race for winning the race, not for stop the other guys. So you have 2 options. First is to start on a port tack, or to start on a starboard close to the boats. If we see, like yesterday, Tony did some port tack, some good. He won races, but he also have tangles. It's a lot of risk.
It's all about weighting the risk and the advantages you can get out of the port starts. I think yesterday, if you would make it through the line and start clear, you would get a really big advantage. If you want to race clean, have a really consistent day, maybe that's not the best option. Like in the previous event and even yesterday, some cases where the riders, the port starters, were pushing it, I think, a little bit too much, and it can get to insane tangles and injuries and yeah.
Everything that here confirms that yeah, the port tack starters are crazy.
So the port tack start, I'm sure we're going to be talking about that a lot this afternoon, Mirko. This morning we had the bib presentation where we hand out the coloured bibs to the top 3 riders. So let's take a look at what happened earlier here on Hang Loose Beach. So this is a new thing, Mirko. This is you handing out the red bib to Lorenzo Boschetti. You know Lorenzo very well, and I got to know him very well when he co-commentated with us in Trounsey. It was great to have him, even though he was injured at the time. Great to see him back here in a podium position. And then Dennis Taradin having to hand the yellow jersey back, and he's wearing the blue bib in the middle today. And there, wearing the yellow bib for the first time, is Tony Vodisek from Slovenia, who is one of the riskier starters on port tack. He goes for it big time in the port tack starts, and it's working for him, as we can see, with the yellow bibs. And I believe we're pretty close now to the start of race 13. So we'll just bring you a time update on that in a moment. So we got just over 2 minutes to go for the start of the next race. So if we can get on to see how things are lining up.
On the corner, we have less than 2 minutes on the time to start. So they're gonna start to understand if it's better to start close to the race committee or to the other side. Let's see in a few seconds.
This is the standings as we go into this. So Taradin looking to defend his place. So Tony Vodisek trying to play catch up, but it looks like at the moment those two have enough of a gap ahead of Boschetti and Pianozzi from Italy. Mazzella, a winner here last year, got a bit of catching up to do, and the reigning world champion Teo de Ramacour in 6th place at the moment, with the Brazilian Bruno Lobo in 7th. So very, very good performance by Bruno Lobo from Brazil at the moment. And we've got just over a minute to go, Mirko. What do you think? Is anyone going to be trying the port tack start this time round?
Absolutely. Like you said, in Gizzeria, every single race, it will be someone which maybe they will take a decision to go on port directly, maybe not in the front of the fleet, all the way behind, but we will see if they can make it, if someone can make it in front of all the starboard starter. So let's see. Just a few seconds, almost 30 seconds to go, so everyone is just getting more speed, getting closer to the starting line, and then they really try to get close to the starting line.
Okay, so 15 seconds to go, and now is the most critical point in the race. And you can see a port tack starter coming in from the right-hand side. Here come the group of port tack starters. Is anyone going to be able to get across the front? No, all the port tack starters starting behind the starboard tackers. So no one risking it for the full fly across. And one of the yellow ozone on the left-hand side already racing out towards the shore. And it was a clear start. No one was over on that one. And bottom of our picture, right-hand side, someone with a massive lead already. And it looks like it could be a yellow bib. It's hard to tell from here, but normally we expect Tony Vodisek to be one of the port tack starters.
No, all the port, they went just behind the fleet. So when all the starboard starter, they will go for, let's say, no more than 10 seconds, and they will start tacking, going on port on the center of the course. So I think you were right. It seems to be the yellow beep, which is belong to
Tony Vodisek at the bottom of our screen, and he's tacked onto port, and he's in a great position right now. So Tony Vodisek reading the opportunities extremely well. That means that Vodisek will be able to one tack all the way over to the starboard ley line if he wants to, and he could two tack this beat. And if you think just how fast these boards are going, they're going about 22, 23 knots upwind. Every tack that you do is quite a distance loser. So this is good tactical sailing by Vodisek, bottom right-hand corner of picture. And meanwhile, on the far side, top left, going in towards the beach, the port tack starters are getting very close to the beach, and they're going to have to tack shortly.
We have our amazing images from the drone. You can see how the rider, they're getting closer to the beach to get the bending of the wind and to have more space going without being affected by the current on all the way to the right side to Capo Suvero. I think we will start soon to see some tacking eating the ley line.
Mirko, what's going on with that kite by the board? Oh, we'll come back to that in a moment. So actually, we have Teo de Ramacourt listed as our current leader. But further out to sea, you can see that Denis Taradin and Tony Vodisek are racing side by side. Those are the two battling out the front for points on the leaderboard right now, and they both chose very similar way of approaching. But it looks like Teo de Ramacourt's early attack onto port is really working out for the Frenchman. De Ramacourt in about 23 knots, with Valentin Bontus from Austria doing almost 24 knots. This is great performance by Bontus as well. He's lying in about 16th or 20th, around that position at the moment, so going particularly well for Bontus right now. Teo de Ramacourt, winner of the World Championship last year, and struggling a little bit by his high standards in 6th place overall, but this will bring him further up the leaderboard if he can hold on to this race lead and win race 13 ahead of Valentin Bontus and Conor Bainbridge from Great Britain, who's currently in 3rd place. Bainbridge been struggling this week, trying out new equipment, which hasn't proved to be particularly fast. Maybe the equipment is fine, it's just you've got to learn how to use it, and it takes a while for a rider to get used to it. Now they're around the windward mark, and de Ramacourt cleanly round, followed by Valentin Bontus, so big lead for the top two. And now around comes the F1 kite of Conor Bainbridge, followed by the chasing pack. And Mazzella is one of the ones up there as well, followed by Tony Vodisek, Boschetti, Taradin, Yanis Maus from Germany, and Azule from Israel. So those are the front few, but Taradin already up into 3rd after an early jibe. So that early jibe looks like it has enabled Taradin to overtake Conor Bainbridge into 3rd place. And we can't see Vodisek on that. I couldn't see Vodisek on that screen, so I'm not sure where our current series leader is, or event leader is right now, but he's somewhere up in the top 5 or 6.
No, we don't see, at least on our tracking, we don't see Tony Vodisek.
Okay, so
not Taradin, it's Vodisek.
Taradin is 4th.
3rd.
Right, so but Taradin's just overtaken Conor Bainbridge, and that's who we see on the left of picture. Conor Bainbridge against Denis Taradin, very close together. And in the middle of our screen, towards the top, it's Teo de Ramacourt way out ahead, leading very comfortably with Valentin Bontus from Austria in 2nd at the moment.
Yeah, and appear also Tony Vodicek, which is just behind Axel Mazela now.
So Teo de Ramacourt, you go ahead, Mirko.
Yeah, Teo de Ramacourt is leading, and then I was just saying that Teo de Ramacourt, we didn't see him on the previous 12 race on the top and leading any races from day one. So I guess that he find something on his equipment and on himself as well, and is leading with a quite good lead, just in front of Denis Taradin and Valentin Bondus, which we know is getting better and better.
Yeah, Bontas in 15th overall, so a second in this race at the moment. Does show that Bontas is beginning to get the hang of it and starting to challenge the very best in this world-class fleet. Around the bottom gate goes Teo de Ramacourt. He goes out to sea. Where are the next two going to go? It's Denis Taradin up into second with Vodicek hot on his heels. So that's first and second overall. Very, very close to each other. And they have overtaken Valentin Bontas with Conor Bainbridge going round in fifth. Teo de Ramacourt already onto Port Tack. So
the last windward legs is leading for, let's say, 200 meters.
So really, really nice lead. And unless Teo puts a foot wrong, unless he has a crash or something, and I've been swimming out there, Mirko, I've seen the jellyfish. I'm imagining if a foil hits a jellyfish, that's probably not going to be good for you.
Not, but most of them, they notice that if it's jellyfish, is for sure better than any seaweed, also small part of seaweed or some plastic bag that sometimes happen.
It's probably not good for the jellyfish, is it?
Yeah, exactly. The jellyfish, you know, it's just, you feel it, but at least it will not affect it for quite a long time, your foils.
Well, it's quite an honourable way for a jellyfish to die.
I don't want to go further. Amazing view.
Teo de Ramacourt going towards the beach, and you can see some of the leisure kites there as well, enjoying the great conditions off the coast of Gizzeria. Here down on the Calabrian coast, way down in the very far south of the Italian mainland, not far from the island of Sicily. So blazing hot, and particularly hot for these riders. If you think that they're doing 25 knots upwind and they've got a 15-knot wind, that's like going through a 40-knot hairdryer. I mean, they are being seriously dehydrated out there. Beautiful tack there by Teo de Ramacourt. Onto his starboard approach to the top mark for the final time. So that most likely will be his last tack of race 13, and the opportunity for anyone to take this race winner away from the reigning world champion from France. Well, those opportunities are starting to run out, because it looks like Teo de Ramacourt is going to post his first win of the day on the race, on the scoreboard, and he needs to do that because he is about 18 or 19 points off fifth place, which is Axel Mazella, the winner here last year, another Frenchman.
Yes, I really hope that the tack on the right spot is really tight on the ley line, so he will try to push a lot on his foot, on the edge of the board and all over his foil, and he will just made the top wind mark. You can see it's just getting on the perfect angle the lane line. Amazing, huh?
Beautifully well judged.
This is why Teo de Ramacourt is also a world champion.
Yes, judging those ley lines must be extremely difficult and only comes with a great deal of experience and expertise. So de Ramacourt about to go round the windward mark for the final time.
Beating away now, getting a lot of speed all the way down, and see Tony Vodicek straight in front of Lorenzo Boschetti, which is going to be now an amazing beating away, slingshot all the way for the last downwind.
So if that's Boschetti and Vodisek. What has happened to Taradin? Oh no, I wonder if
Just
that was Taradin.
behind.
I wonder if...
Yeah.
I think it is Taradin and Vodisek still
okay,
fighting.
So okay, so that was the...
Right.
Yeah, it was not updated on the computer. Yes, now it got Vodisek and...
So that is the battle. So Vodisek needs to overtake Taradin to close that points gap. Remember that Taradin has a 2-point lead over Vodisek right now. So really, if possible, Vodisek wants to get back into the yellow bib by the end of the day, and we'll explain the importance of the difference between first and second a little bit later on. It is important to try and get that top spot going into the final day for the medal series. But right now, let's focus on this race, and it would be great if we can keep on following that competition between Vodisek and Taradin all the way to the finish. I think we can assume that Teo de Ramacourt is going to win this race. There goes the simultaneous jibe between Vodisek and Taradin. Who is going to hold their nerve? Who is going to be able to outsail the other round this final turn towards the finish line? Extremely close between Taradin and Vodisek.
And then Boschetti, Bainbridge, Pianosi, he just make different tactics, stay more on the center of the course, maybe looking for some more gust.
So who would you want to be right now, Mirko? On the left, it's Taradin, and on the right, it is Vodisek.
The mark is going to be on the left. It's better to stay on the inside, try to be more close to the mark. So now Denis Taradin as the better position for the last jibe and go to the last leg. Reaching leg to the finish, all the way to the finish.
They're jibing a little bit earlier than the line that Teo de Ramacourt took. Teo de Ramacourt is going to win this race, but let's focus on the battle here. Who is going to take the lead around? It's Vodisek, who has taken the lead from Taradin, and this is going to be really important because this is going to close the gap to just 1 point between Taradin and Vodisek. So Vodisek doing exactly what he needed to do under pressure, and it's going to be the Slovenian, if he can hold on to the very end, who's just going to get across the line ahead of the yellow bib of Taradin. And there was half a second in it, probably not even that.
Not even. It was like, let's say, 3-4 meter at 34, 33 knots of speed. You can imagine, really close.
Those two are looking like the form performers here in Gizzeria. They are going to be stretching their lead even further, even though Teo de Ramacourt kept his points to just 1 point in that by winning the race. Those two, Taradin and Vodisek, seem to be a cut above everybody else here right now. So, a great finish to race 13 for the men. We are about 10 minutes away from the start of race 13 for the women. Back to you soon. So that was the men's competition. Now let's focus on the women. We are about 2 minutes away from the start, 1 minute 40 to the start of race 13 for the women. Let's see who got the bibs earlier this morning at the bib ceremony. So there we are at Hang Loose Beach, and my beautiful assistant Mirko Babini ready to hand over the red bib to Poema Newland from France. Wears 2 watches on her her left wrist. I'll tell you about that more in a moment. And coming up next for the blue, it's Daniela Moroz, the 5-time world champion from USA. And then coming up for the yellow bib for the first time this week, winner of 2 races yesterday, is Ellie Aldridge from Great Britain. So watch out for the yellow bib of Ellie Aldridge. But who we don't see on that podium is someone who's been quite inconsistent over the previous 2 days. Winner of both the last races on the first day, both the last races on the second day, but still not yet on the podium. However, she's won the first 2 races of the session this afternoon. So that means Lauriane Nolot from France has won her last 4 races here in Gizzeria. It looks like the French woman is getting the measure of the competition here. We've got about 10 seconds to go. Let's see if we can see any port tack starters coming in from the right-hand side of your screen. Is anyone going to be brave enough to do it?
They're gonna close the gap. I don't think that there is any room for any port starter on the race 13 for the woman fleet.
Clear start, and I think, Mirko, that is just about the first race that we've seen where no one has attempted the port tack start. So very unusual. So I wonder if something is a little bit different about the conditions. Maybe the breeze is further to the left. Maybe there's a feeling that going hard into the shore isn't as critical as it's been on previous days. We'll have to wait and see. But very unusual to see everyone start on starboard.
Yeah, but you know what happened on the previous start from the main, just a few of them, they tried to start on port, but all the way behind the fleet. So they've been working, then they noticed that the starting line was not on the right bias to go on port. So, and then all the other riders, they fulfill all the starting lines, so no space for port. And it was the right, I think it was the right decision to do so. Well, it's really important to start to see most of them, let's say half of the fleet going on port on the center of the course. It's still better to go to the right side of the course.
And the good thing about tacking a little bit later, we see them tacking, a number of them tacking now, is that if you've judged it correctly, you can now get all the way over to the starboard lay line and you've only got 1 tack remaining. Whereas if you tack off earlier, you've potentially got 2 more tacks to do as you short tack up the side of the shore. So how do we think things are working out? We think that Jessie Campman is amongst the front runners. It's a little bit difficult to say at the moment, but Wojciechowska on the right-hand side, top right-hand side, it looks like she's got the number 1. Now it switches over to Poema Newland. Excuse me. So it looks like Poema Newland and Magda Wojciechowska might be amongst the front runners. Wojciechowska from Poland only in 20th overall at the moment, so going particularly well for the Polish rider. Poema Newland just off the podium, but she has won races this week, so no surprise to see the overall winner of the KiteFoil World Series 2021 up in the front right now. Maddie Anderson also doing well, and Lauriane Nolot from France, our series leader, winner of the previous 4 races, also moving up into contention in this race. Now, in the previous race, we saw Nolot with a blue kite, and so let's see if we can look out for that. Nolot looks like she's got a click extra pace. She's doing 22 knots upwind compared with 20 to 21 for most of the other riders. So Nolot up to 23 knots there. That's her on the right of your screen. She's the furthest right, most right-hand kite, and almost invisible against the dark blue of the sea. But that's Nolot going a little bit faster, about a knot faster than everyone else. And meanwhile, tacking onto starboard with the very dark-coloured kite, looks like might be, I don't know if it's a red jersey or not. I don't know if that was Newland. It might have been Newland who attacked, so I think it is Newland. So Lauriane Nolot has now tacked on top of Newland. So one French giving bad air to another French, and that's Nolot with the lighter coloured blue in the middle of your screen, at the bottom of the screen, and with the black kite, Poema Newland with the red bib in second right now, unless they've overtaken the ley line, in which case that fly surfer further to leeward might also be able to get around in one. But it does look like Lauriane Nolot is well placed to go around in the lead with Newland in second place.
Yeah, exactly. You're right. You just spotted the right riders. Nolot, she's definitely in front, pushing hard, and she got an extra knots of speed compared to the other. She's a little bit windward to the other, so she can go for a little bit more VMG close to the mark. So let's see when they're going to start on the downwind leg.
And that other mark that you can see is not the windward mark, that's the spacer mark to stop anyone jibing too early, to stop any tangle ups as they go round the windward mark. But that is Nolot safely around the windward mark and going into a very early jibe. So Nolot, she likes the idea of going back down towards the shore. And then following her around, Poema Newland, then Gal Zuckerman from Israel, Wojciechowska from Poland, Lammerts from the Netherlands, Maddie Anderson from Great Britain, and Daniela Moroz towards the back of the top 10. So not a great race for Moroz right now. Let's see what Moroz can do to get back through the fleet.
She will try to get extra speed on the downwind. We know that Daniela, she's brave enough to go super fast in the downwind, pushing a lot on the front leg and over the mast, on the foil mast. Keep the kite as low as possible. You can see the position that they have. They're pushing a lot, pushing, because as more you push on the foil, more speed you can get from all the position and the right angle between the kite and the board.
It's a big leg workout, isn't it?
Yeah.
And these riders have incredibly strong legs. And at the moment, getting a good distance on the rest of the fleet. At the front three, Lauriane Nolot still leading, doing speeds of almost 30 knots. Poema Newland's actually a little bit faster, doing speeds just over 30 knots. And Gal Zuckerman, also the young 18-year-old Israeli rider in the mix in the top three. That's Gal Zuckerman, I think, with the fly surfer, is it?
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
No, but yeah, Gal, she's on the fly surfer. And then Eloise Pégoret, also quite good speed, over 30. And we know also from the youth world in Torre Grande, where Eloise, the young French rider also, she's quite faster on this kind of condition, flat water and good sea breeze.
So very close battle here between Newland and Zuckerman for second place. And they've got a gate, they've got a choice of marks that they can go around at the bottom. But Nolot, just out of picture, is still leading quite comfortably and still going a little bit faster than the rest downwind. So Nolot got a narrow lead. That's Nolot going around now, going out to sea. What are the others going to do? It looks like they're both going to go out to sea. Bit of a splash down there for a moment for Poema Newland in second, but it is now Nolot, Poema Newland and Gal Zuckerman going around in third. But Gal Zuckerman with a better rounding. So Zuckerman has control over Newland. I don't think Newland will be able to tack until Zuckerman allows her to. And going around in fourth place, that's Lammerts from the Netherlands with a bit of a gap back to Pégoret and Wojciechowska. And Daniela Moroz, she's one of the fly surfers in amongst that group there. A lot of traffic for Moroz. So Moroz has climbed up a little bit, but she's still got some work to do. This is Nolot. She's tacked onto port tack and the fastest rider on the water right now, leading this race.
Yes, but Moroz, she's getting closer and closer to Poema. She's on the target. I guess that the next downwind and last downwind legs is going to be quite challenging for all of them and try to overtake it.
Yep, there's still opportunities on this racetrack, that's for sure. And that looks like it could be Gal Zuckerman, unless that's surely not Moroz up. It could be Moroz, actually, yeah. So, Mirko, I think maybe that's what you were hinting, is Moroz somehow has managed to gain a lot of ground.
Because she went for an early tack and all the way to the left, so getting the inside bending, and she was gaining a lot of angle, I must say.
That's an enormous comeback by Moroz. She was back in around almost 10th place going around the windward mark for the first time. So as you predicted, Mirko, good downwind gains for Moroz, which put her in a position to attack on this second and final beat. It's going to be hard for Moroz to overtake Nolo, but it looks like Moroz has maybe done enough to get up into second place ahead of Newland. It's very close between Newland and Moroz right now. Looking at that picture, I'd say actually Newland, bottom right of screen with the black kite, is still ahead of Moroz, but it's very close between those two.
Yeah, we can see from the drone it seems to be a lot of space, but in reality, not that much. I can tell you it's going to be really important. Soon they will tack and going on starboard. I guess just a few seconds to be ready to hit the right ley line of the course and go straight to the top mark.
That goes the kite. You predicted correctly, Mirko. That is Nolo with a very smooth tack onto starboard and approaching the top mark for the final time. And
quite risky, the early tack for Poema. She must be really confident on the angle of the board and the kite, because she's a little bit leeward to Nolot, so she will not get clear air on in all the way to the top mark. And having Daniela in windward, that's not.
Yeah, I think right, Mirko.
So good.
I think Poema Newland could have carried on another 1 or 2 seconds longer and got up onto the line of Moroz and Nolo and maybe given some bad air back to Moroz. So maybe has Newland, by tacking a little bit earlier than the other two, has she opened the door to Moroz to attack, to perhaps overtake for second place? We will find out shortly. But Newland now up onto the line of Nolo, so she should be safe in terms of rounding the mark, okay?
Yeah.
Nolo about to go round the windward mark for the final time. Newland in second and Moroz close in third. What's Nolo going to do this time? She did an early jibe the first time round. Yes, it's an early jibe again for Nolo, wanting to get back in towards the shore, feeling that the breeze is better on that side.
Daniela, she will be doing it as well. Early jibe following Lorian.
And Newland, the last of the top three to jibe. And is this going to give an opportunity for Moroz to attack from the shore side of the course on Newland? But Newland looking good with the black kite.
She's doing quite good deep on the downwind. Using her kite, you know, the ozone not easy to manage. Keep the kite as low as she can on the center of the window. Try to get as much deep angle as possible. She know that it's going to be really important to get closer to the last rounding gate, and then let's see. They hit, you know, they stay almost close to 30, sometime over 30 knots on 10 knots of sea breeze, which is just insane.
Yeah, so efficient, isn't it? The fastest Olympic class that we've ever seen, and one of the most efficient forms of sail-powered craft that we've ever seen, or wind-powered craft that we've ever seen. So simple, but so effective, but so difficult to do. We're seeing the best in the world do this. Let's remember that. So when we see Nolo go through that jibe and get through safely, okay, it was a little bit sketchy.
It was a little bit sketchy, and but she's in the good position because she will be inside of the gate, getting the gate on her left and straight on the last reach. It's gonna be really difficult for Daniela to beat Poema. I can tell you.
Well, the pressure is on, though. The pressure is on for Nolo to hold her nerve because Newland is breathing down her neck and Moroz is not far behind either. So we've got this pressure jibe coming up. And is Nolo going to be up to it? Is Nolo followed by Newland and Moroz in third, waiting to pounce on any mistake? But it's Moroz going for the early jibe. That's quite a brave move by Moroz. Has she jibed too soon? Is she going to be able to do it? It looks like Nolo has got safely round and now it's into the power zone. About a 2-second lead over Newland. So it's France in first and second, followed by USA in third. And it's another 100 meters to the finish. And it looks like this is going to be the 5th bullet in a row for Lauriane Nolot, who is continuing to stretch away. She's not wearing a coloured bib right now, but as things stand, she will go into the final day wearing the coveted yellow bib and earning that spot to go into the four-board final with Newland in second and Moroz in third.
Yeah, amazing French battle because Lauriane, she's really in fire today and also yesterday, but
but even more so today.
Yeah, but mainly today. But it's amazing how Poema Newland, she managed to chase Lauriane until the almost the end, until the finish line, and keep Daniela Moroz just behind them.
And I think Nolot looks a little bit tired as she steps ashore there. I think these races are taking it out of her mentally and physically, but she is certainly holding it together because 5 race wins in a row is incredibly difficult. And only now do we see the yellow bib of Ellie Aldridge coming across the finish line. So the front 3 were in another league. And perhaps the most impressive performance was from Daniela Moroz, who showed that ability to come from about 8th or 9th place around the windward mark. And suddenly from nowhere, she appeared and got up into almost into second place up that final beat. But she, in the end, it was third, but a very good recovery by Daniela Moroz.
Yes, the French mission by Nolot and Poema Newland was quite insane. And at some point after on the middle of the second upwind legs, I thought that Daniela would have been able to attack Poema, but at the end, Poema managed to keep a lot of speed and no mistake at all on the last downwind legs. And again, look at Lauriane Nolot. She
100% performance today.
Yeah,
100 on her back and 100% performance, winning all the races so far today.
Yeah, consistency. She liked the word, and today she proved that she can make it. But she's massaging the quadricep.
Right. We got 2 more races for them to get through this afternoon, so things can still change. But for the number 100 bib of Lauriane Nolot, it's been a very good day so far. And Gal Zuckerman was 4th in that race. If you remember, Gal Zuckerman was up in the top 3 for a while. That's one of her best scores so far this week. And for the Israeli rider, that was an important result because Zuckerman is just outside the top 10, or she's right on the cusp. So
on the 10.
Yeah, so she is actually 10th and equal with 11th placed Heloise Pigorier, who also had a good race just then. So the battle is on to get into the top 10 for some of the riders, because remember, if you finish 10th or better today, it doesn't matter whether you're between 1st and 10th, you still have the potential to win the overall event. You have to sail out of your skin if you're back in 8th, 9th or 10th or something like that, but it is still doable. And at the event in Torre Grande, for example, the Youth World Championship, Mirko, we saw Nina Arcic come through from about, I think, 6th place going into the final day. The Polish rider had an incredible day, and she went past the 2 Israeli riders, Maya Ashkenazi and Gal Zuckerman, and ended up winning. But there's Lauriane Nolot, some statistics on Lauriane, and absolutely storming performance by the French rider today. And as I was saying earlier, she wasn't such a big fan of Gizzeria 24 hours ago. I think maybe she's changed her mind now, Mirko.
I think tomorrow is going to be the day where she might change her mind for the next few years. She's massive. She's really focused, and I really hope she can recover quite quick in the next few minutes. her legs, because it's really important to have a fresh legs to push a lot on the foil.
Standing up is 55. That's Lily Young, and sitting down with the number 1 on her back is Ellie Aldridge. Let's take a quick look at the results for the men and see how things stand after that amazing finish that we saw earlier. So Dennis Taradin is back into first place. So he's got a 3-point gap now on Tony Vodisek. Okay. And Lorenzo Boschetti in third place, with Riccardo Pianozzi in fourth, Axel Mozella from France in fifth. Theo de Ramicourt, winner of that last race. But as you can see, he's still got a 14-point gap to get any higher up the scoreboard. And Bruno Lobo in seventh, Conor Bainbridge struggling in eighth, trying some new gear. Florian Gruber from Germany in ninth, and Poland's Jan Marciniak in 10th spot at the moment. And we will be keeping a close eye on who is on the cusp of getting through to the 10-board final, and who is on the cusp of falling the wrong side of it. We'll go to a quick ad. We'll be back to you again soon. So there are the girls trying to cool down on the beach. There's not much escape from the strength of the sun here, is there? But sometimes, Mirko, I see that they manage to fly their kites over themselves in such a way that they use it as a parasol. Yeah, but
I think they are using the kite to just keep in the air to lift them up and have more, I don't know, maybe there is a kind of a feeling.
Yeah.
Just to keep himself lighter on the sand and try to recover a little bit. So it's gonna be the next race quite important for the men. Like you said on a few minutes ago, it's really important to get on the top of the 10. And the example is on the men, we have the 10th and 11 on the same point. So next couple of races is going to be really important for Ian Marciniak and Mario Calbucci, because they are a 95 point. Both of them, so it's going to be really important, because for them it's going to be important. If you are in the front, you get it. Otherwise, you are out of the show of tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah. So that's the view on the beach right now, and just behind the black tent. Don't know if he's going to come into view, but there's a guy with all kinds of things for sale. There's a big blow-up yellow rubber duck on his back. So I don't know if he's found his target audience here. I don't know if Lauriane Nolot or any of the other female riders are interested in buying a big blow-up yellow duck right now. They probably haven't got their credit cards on them, have they?
I don't think so.
But they're pretty good Instagrammers in between races, aren't they? They're often managing to record what they're doing on the shore. So there is the yellow duck. He hasn't even bothered asking Lauriane Nolot, and Lauriane has run out of his direction just in case he was going to start hassling her to buy the yellow duck.
We will buy for her tomorrow if she manages to win.
Yes, I think we'll present that with the yellow duck with the yellow bib tomorrow morning.
Exactly.
Yeah, someone go out and buy the blow-up duck quickly.
We will use tomorrow.
Yes.
And we put the number 1 on it.
So we've got another competition going on here. We've got the A's Youth Foil competition, their European Championship. I think we've got a video that we can play about that. That's Jan Stragiotti wearing the yellow bib. He is running away with this competition. He's the reigning youth world champion in the A's Youth. We saw him win that world title a couple of months ago in May in Torre Grande, not far from where you live in Sardinia, Mirko. So he is the form rider that's going incredibly well here. I think we've maybe got a video about the A's. So if we do, let's play that now and tell you a little bit about this competition.
I'm the Subfoil brand manager. The purpose of the Ace foil class, I think it's pretty simple. It's to give a base class, the start class for kite racing. It will help, it's a class that is affordable and will help to build a strong young athlete fleet, developing their skills for the future kite racing. It's a sort of, let's say, Optimist for sailing class or Techno 293 for a windsurf class. And the good advantage about this class is that it has not a big cost, it's affordable. Think about that foil and board, it's around 2,000 euro. And I think it will help sailing club or sailing federation to build a class of young athlete that in the future can represent the country in the Olympics. At some point you have to start from somewhere, and I think the Ace youth class is a very good point to start for all the competitors under age of 17. I think that with this age, as a first racing class, it's very important for all the young riders to be on the same type of equipment, because it permits them to focus on their own performance, technical and tactics, instead of focusing on the equipment performance. More, it puts them all on the same level. We choose it for an equipment that is fair for many body types, from a young Thai rider to a big Russian guy. So, and it's a very performing class. Think about that at the recent World Championship, all the top riders were able to crack 30 notes. And the fight was really nice, above all because they were all on the same equipment. But I do repeat myself, I think the most important fact is that permit the riders to focus on, and the coach to focus on rider tactics and rider technical.
Now, I would love to learn how to do foiling, Mirko, but I'm a little bit intimidated by the big kites. And I wonder if the A's Youth shouldn't be talked about as a youth thing, but maybe as a sort of a form of beginner kite for somebody like me that maybe wants to learn it, not just for sort of a teenager like Jan Stragiotti that we're seeing here. So that's one thing I'd like to ask you about. But also on the beach, we are seeing a parasailer, a disabled sailor, about to go foiling as well. Now, how on earth does that work? Surely you've got to be a supremely fit, able-bodied athlete to go foiling like this.
Yeah, I mean, it's just insane. We saw the previous year already Alessandro Lancelotti here in Gizzeria a few years ago when he was just twin-tip kiting back and forth here in Gizzeria. And then last year we started to see him foiling on seat. And then this is why with World Sailing, when we had the a parasail events in Campione just a couple of weeks ago, has been invited together with the most parasailer of the world, parakite of the world for the first time, and he proved himself how great it can be for a disabled athletes to foil with a kite. is just insane. I don't know, honestly, for me they are a superhero, because I don't even understand how you can learn, because now he's doing well, but you learn it, so it must be super difficult at the beginning. Obviously it helps, but him is an amazing athlete. He training himself as much as he can. He loves sport. He's a fantastic guy, and you will see it's just amazing how he can foiling around the sea. And I really hope that it will help for the cause, for the just cause, to back the bid and reinstate parasail on the Olympics, on the next Olympic game in LA 2028.
Well, that would be amazing. So World Sailing is pushing hard with its back the bid to try and get sailing back into the Paralympics. I think some of the boats that they've had to use in the Paralympics in the past are a bit boring, not very inspiring. How inspiring would it be to other disabled people to see Paralympians hydrofoiling at high speed? It would probably be the fastest of any of the Paralympic competitions, including, say, track cycling and things like that. To be able to do speeds of, say, up to 30 knots would be an incredible sight at the Paralympics. So I see this as one of the great hopes for getting sailing back into the Paralympic Games. What an inspiring spectacle this would be to see hydrofoiling at 30 knots.
Yes, and the most important thing is just to let the people understand, the entire community around the world, that it might be something else. I mean, the boat that they're using now for the format, the possible format for the Paralympics in LA, is not the kite, but it's important to use the kite foiler, a parakite, to prove that there is also something else on the future, maybe 2032 or whatever. But the most important thing is to use the community to help the IOC and the IPC to reinstate the parasail, I mean, sailing inside of the Paralympics Games. That is one of the most important thing. And I'm really looking forward to see Alessandro foiling here just in the front of the beach in Gizzeria.
Let's hope we get an opportunity to do that. We've got 2 minutes and 15 seconds to the start of the men's race. This is going to be race 14. Let's see if Alessandro can get launched on his parafoiler before we have to switch over towards commentating on the next men's race. And Dennis Taradin back in the lead. And just updating you on the girls. I'm just trying to hear in my ear what we're doing. Oh, we got the girls' results. So Lauriane Nelot with another race win now moves her 5 points clear of Daniela Moroz, who was third in that race, with Ellie Aldridge not firing on quite the level she was the previous day. The yellow bib wearer down to third, but still some way ahead of Poema Newland, even though Poema was second in the race that we witnessed just then. And Leonie Meyer from Germany in fifth place, with Annalise Lammertz in sixth place, and Gal Zuckerman just inside the top 10. She was fourth in that race, so just holding a position to get into the final top 10. And we've got 1 minute to the start of the men's race. Are we going to get a chance to see Alessandro get launched in the parafoiler? It looks like we're close to launch. Let's just hold on a little bit longer. Come on, Alessandro. Okay, we'll come back. We'll come back to Alessandro later and see if we can watch him in action. Oh, he's just getting going now. And can he get up and running? Almost there.
On the meantime, we see all the fleet.
Look at that.
Lining up.
Isn't that incredible?
Yeah, how he can manage it.
Just incredible. I mean, how inspiring, how exciting is that?
Oh, the meantime, 10 seconds.
It looks like he's going to join in the race.
Exactly. Amazing.
Come on, Alessandro, you can overtake Dennis Taradin. But look, there's another start where no one is attempting, or very few are attempting the port tack start. There's only 2 that attempted it underneath the rest of the fleet. And there's an early tack out on the right. Is that is a clear start, so no one was over. And I wonder if that board that tacked away right at the committee boat, it looked like a yellow bib. I wonder if that was Tony Vodisek that tacked at the committee boat, but we'll bring you updates of that once we get the tracking underway and sorted out. Valentin Bontas is the furthest right board, the top right of picture. He's had a really good start to the race, but has he done enough to be able to get back across? That's a very early tack, and Bontas is having to weave his way through the starboard tackers. I don't quite understand what was gained by doing that. You get a great start, but then you tack back into the pack.
The wind went a couple of degrees to the left side, and this is why someone just noticed and start to tack quite quick. So everyone is now on port here close to the shore, and there is Marcus Edegran and Farrington Enzo Perez.
Okay, so none of our front runners are... Right, so Marcus Edegran has done really well by an early tack out to the right-hand side. And so the American sailor currently leading going in towards the shore. So he's top left of our screen. Edegran looking very, very good. Edegran in the just outside the top 10. I wonder if Edegran can get a good score here. Will that be enough to get him back into the top 10? He's got a bit of a gap to make up, but it could be. He's only about 15 points out of the top 10. So let's see if Marcus Edegran, currently leading this race, can do enough to haul his way back into the top 10. Yanis Maus also doing very well. And De Falbay from France up there. Tony Vodisek in about 4th. Bontas, despite that weird tack, is still in about 5th place, and Axel Mazzella in 6th. Tiger Tyson from Antigua in 7th, and Theo de Ramacourt, winner of the previous race, in about 8th place at the moment.
So Yanis Maus was one of the first or second early tacker on the lower part of the screen, so he's definitely on port, and now it seems to be on 1st position, Yanis Maus.
Right, so the German Yanis Maus doing extremely well in the early stages of this race. And it is still very early, so the positions are changing around very quickly at the moment. Theo de Ramacourt looks like he might well be up in the top 3 again. So a couple of boards coming out to the right-hand side. Sorry, the left-hand side. That's quite unusual.
Because it seems to be just a little bit more wind on top, but a lot of current, and it's not paying in terms of result to anyone on the previous races. So we have Julien Kerner, which is a grandmaster, coming here to get some latest taste of racing. We remember him at the early stages on the racing series.
And it looks like Theo de Ramacourt and Dennis Taradin are coming in from the left. That's either Taradin or de Ramacourt that has just tacked there, and the other port tacker tacking in on the ley line. So very, very close, coming towards the top. This is anybody's race right now. It looks like the red bib of Lorenzo Boschetti might be one of the leaders. That could be Boschetti that goes round in first, and then it's very, very close round by the next few. So Boschetti in first, de Ramacourt in second, Mazzella in third, Lobo from Brazil in fourth, Edegran from the USA in fifth, and Pianozzi, Bontas, Perez and Azule also in amongst the top few. But this is good sailing by Boschetti. yet to win a race. He's no, actually, sorry, he did win a race. Won the an earlier race this afternoon, the first race of the day. So Boschetti going very well.
And all of them early jibe all the way close to the shore to get more gusts. I guess that it seems that the gusts are more intense and more often close to the beach.
So maybe the wind accelerates as it hits the shore, and just a little bit more wind strength over there. So let's see if Boschetti can hold on and close the gap to the top two. Boschetti wearing the red bib and lying third overall. Can he close the gap on Vodisek and Taradin, the two riders that are in front of him in the overall standings?
Yeah, because there is, we saw between 3 to 5 points, everything can happen if you, after 14 races, you play all your cards in terms of discard. So if you're going to run up on a really good result or bad result, then it will change for sure. So he will try not to make mistake and to go.
So they're approaching the bottom and just trying to identify who is who. But there we are. It's Boschetti still leading with De Ramicourt and Pianozzi fighting for second. And we've got a bunch of fly surfers, which makes it very difficult to identify who's who. But you do see the red bib of Boschetti on the right-hand side, still leading with De Ramicourt and Pianozzi fighting for second and third, just behind. And Dennis Taradin also in the battle. Dennis Taradin in fourth, Bontus in fifth. Bontus having a very good day, the Austrian. Had a great...
He find the right way to play cards, and he's always on the front. And he's quite a big boy, I can tell you.
Valentin is a big boy, and he is also the friendliest, funniest guy in the fleet. So round goes Boschetti, followed by Pianozzi, and then De Ramicourt, Taradin, Mazzella, Bontus,
and Lobo.
And so it's two young Italians. Tell us about Boschetti and Pianozzi, Mirko, because I'm sure you've seen these guys grow up over the years. Pianozzi's still only 16. How old is Lorenzo?
Yeah, he's 23. They are really young talents. Boschetti a little bit older than Pianozzi. They are really two two greatest athletes now on the Italian team on the high level. They are just improving and keep improving, and they are talented. So it's really good to have both of them on the top, because one help the other to get better and better. It's really important. We saw the French squad on the female fleet. Once it get always the other one behind, and they are always leading. And I really hope that Boschetti and Pianozzi, they continue to lead the race, because both of them, they really deserve it.
Do you think that Boschetti and Pianozzi can keep the reigning world champion Teo De Ramicourt behind them?
Difficult to say, but I can tell you, knowing both of them and Teo as well, they will push to get every single half knots of speed all the way downwind, not to get beat on from any of them. They are really competitive, 100%. So Boschetti, De Ramicourt, and Pianozzi, they are just going super fast on the second part of the upwind leg.
And we're looking at Lobo and Edegran in that shot, but we're back with the leading three. And on the left of screen, it's Boschetti still in the lead. In the middle of picture, it's Pianozzi, and then it's De Ramicourt now at the top of our screen. So it's De Ramicourt, the closest to the shore. And it looks like Pianozzi is getting a little bit squeezed. And I wonder if Boschetti and Teo De Ramicourt are giving bad air to Pianozzi. It could be that Teo De Ramicourt...
So Boschetti had to keep clear to Teo. So Teo really did a good move. A clear tack on the perfect spot of the ley line, and you can see he just got 30 to 40 meter advantage on that tack.
So Teo De Ramicourt using his experience to get ahead of the two young Italians, and the Frenchman now looking hard to beat. And remember, it was de Ramacourt who won the previous race. So are we seeing de Ramacourt hit his form and actually start to show us what the reigning world champion can do? Because this could be 2 race wins in a row for de Ramacourt.
Yes, amazing move, I must say. Really experienced move. He didn't get squeezed by the 2 Italian, but he tried to find the right way to let them battle together, and he went away on the perfect tack move, on the perfect spot on the lay line, which
They look
really
a little bit
impressed.
low on the lay line, if anything, but let's see if that's really true.
Because the lay line
he's having to pump a bit.
Yeah, because there is a media boat over there, really on the bad spot, I must say.
And around goes Boschetti and Pianozzi. Boschetti only just round, so Pianozzi takes the advantage from Boschetti, who was a little bit below ley line. And Taradin also ready to pounce back in 4th place. And an early jibe by Pianozzi. So a great move by Pianozzi, and Boschetti losing another place and in danger of being attacked by Dennis Taradin in 4th.
Yes, it was an inside jibe, amazing inside jibe with a bit away as a slingshot, we said also in the past, straight by Pianozzi. I mean, the youngest, they are brave on that.
But meanwhile, out in front, Teo de Ramacourt looking lower and faster than anybody else. He's stretched to 160 meters over Pianozzi. Can the 16-year-old Pianozzi, silver medalist recently at the World Sailing Youth World Championships in The Hague, can he hold on to 2nd place in this race? Lorenzo Boschetti still attacking from one side, and Dennis Taradin, the Cypriot rider, attacking from the other. And it's looking like a very close race for 2nd, 3rd and 4th, while Teo de Ramacourt sails away and stretches the lead now to almost 180 meters.
Yes, it's going to be really, don't know until the end, by Riccardo Boschetti and Taradin, because Taradin is easily going faster than 31, 32 knots, so faster than the other. He's just keeping different angle, so let's see if he can manage to stay on the inside over the last jibe on the gate.
Teo de Ramacourt, clear water around him, almost stretching his lead to 200 meters ahead of Riccardo Pianozzi. Pianozzi still in a battle with his training partner from Italy, the 2 Italians, but Dennis Taradin also pushing. Dennis Taradin, who is leading this competition overall, he's not going to give up any points lightly. So the Cypriot will be looking to put pressure on the 2 Italians. And this is the battle for 2nd, 3rd and 4th right now.
It's going to be really important, the last jibe, I can tell you. So we can see Riccardo Pianozzi on the 23 and Dennis Taradin on the 21 kite.
Interesting. So what would you rather have, a 21 or a 23 right now? The 21 is a little bit easier to get through the jibes and the maneuvers, but the 23 is going to give you more.
Boschetti did quite a good jibe on top of Dennis Taradin, so now Boschetti is able to go a little bit downwind, and Teo de Ramacourt just crossed the finish line and got another bullet.
And how happy does he look about that? And look how close it is for 2nd, 3rd and 4th across the line. It looks like Pianozzi has just about got it, but who was it between Boschetti and Taradin? An absolute photo finish, and I don't know if we can tell you who got that right now.
I don't know.
It
From here, from our perspective, was almost difficult to see. We will need to wait for a photo finish. Maybe they had a video photo finish on the finish boat, because it's gonna be really difficult to see from here. They were so close, 34 knots of speed.
So we're still looking at de Ramacourt, who won that race, and how happy was he to have crossed that finish line in the lead. We will go to a quick ad and back to you soon for the next start. What a finish we had to that race just then. Mirko, at the time, when Teo de Ramacourt pulled off that last tack onto the starboard ley line, he just seemed to sort of bend the whole race to his will. It was like what he wanted to happen did happen. How did he manage to turn around from being third suddenly to being first?
Yeah, just looking on the tracking, on the trace that he left on the course, it was quite interesting to see that he spotted some more breeze on the center of the course, so he managed to do a tack a little bit farther than the other, staying more on the center of the course, just going for more fresh air without, avoid to stay too close to the other rider, and just go for a VMG, go for speed, and it pay off, because when he hit the ley line and he do a proper jibe, a proper tack, it was clear ahead of 20 meters, so just enough to have Boschetti that have to keep clear of him, and then over. When he put his bow on the front, then ciao, he went.
Ciao. And he said goodbye and arrivederci to Lorenzo Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi, but still some great scores and great performances by them, lying in third and fourth, Boschetti and Pianozzi respectively, going into that race. And I think they will still stay in those positions, but consolidating their gap over the likes of Axel Mazzella, who is the Frenchman that won here last year and won the overall KiteFoil World Series 2021. So Boschetti and Pianozzi certainly proving themselves to be world-class in the way that they're sailing. Now, we're on a postponement. I don't see any reason why that should be a long postponement, but we are waiting to get into race 14 for the women. So we will do another ad and we will come back to you soon.
DR5, built to win.
Right, so we've got about 4 minutes to the start of the next race, coming up to 3 minutes 30. If you remember, we were talking about the parafoiling before the start of the last race. I don't know if we're able to locate Alessandro or where he might be foiling. It would be great if we can do that. Yeah, not to worry. We can actually see Alessandro out to the left of our commentary position near one of the super yachts, one of the sleek power boats that's out there, and it looks like he's going along very, very nicely. So great to see, and it makes me think, Mirko, Alessandro might have a level of disability, but presumably me as a never having foiled before, I could actually sit down on one of those foilers and have a race against Alessandro as well, if I could learn the basics of foiling.
I think it's easier for you just learn on the normal way.
Okay.
Honestly, being strapped on that board, and I don't know how easy it is, but I will recommend you to start on the normal way.
Okay, all right, fair enough. We got 2 minutes to the start. Right, there he is. So that is Alessandro sailing away from us, foiling away in the seated position. And well, this is technology, and this is what development can do for you. This is what the KiteFoil World Series is all about: developing and testing the very best gear. Now, the parafoiling isn't anything to do with the KiteFoil World Series, but we're delighted to be able to show you what is possible now for disabled sailing. And how much more exciting is it to do that than to sail in some of the boats that we've seen in Paralympic competition in the past? I'm sorry to be rude about that, but this is way more exciting. Bit of a crash down there for Alessandro. but he's getting back up and running again. And looks like he's having a lot of fun out there. Just trying to get foiling again. He's fallen off the foil. We've got 1 minute 10 to the start, so let's turn our attention back towards this next men's race and let's remind ourselves of the situation. So, sorry, I'm losing.
Yeah.
I'm losing track. Female race. So Lauriane Nolot, winner of the previous 5 races. That means she's won all 3 races so far today. Who's going to be able to stop the momentum of the French rider who is winning race after race right now? Is it Daniela Moroz, currently in second, the USA rider, 5-time world champion, and Ellie Aldridge, currently wearing the yellow bib after such a great day yesterday? Can she re-find that race-winning form? Yet to win a race today. So Ellie Aldridge got 3 points to make up on Daniela Moroz if she wants to get one of the top 2 spots that gets her a bye through to the 4-board final tomorrow afternoon. We've got the most of the fleet lining up on starboard tack right now. Is anyone going to be brave enough to try the port start? Let's see in a moment. We've got 8 seconds to go. And now they swing their kites down into the power zone. And off we go. There's a few trying the port tack start underneath the fleet. No one has been brave enough to try it over the top of the fleet. And it's a clear start. No one was hit by the UFD flag, so that is good news for everybody out there. There's a splash down there, Mirko, on the left of screen. What do you think might have happened?
I guess that they were all behind the main fleet, and then she just tried to tack and just mistake.
A mistake that
fall off.
Yeah, so that's unfortunate. So in the early stages, Ellie Aldridge doing very, very well in the race. Leonie Meyer from Germany and Daniela Moroz also up in the front few. And Justina Kitchen from New Zealand. We haven't mentioned her name so far today. She is also doing well after a very good start. And these are the riders that are firing out to the right-hand side. And let's see if we can identify the orange and the black ozones. That's Maddie Anderson
And Gaia Falco.
and Gaia Falco from Italy. So Anderson from Great Britain and Falco from Italy, let's keep an eye on how they're performing out to the right-hand side, which has been a very strong move on previous days. I get the sense that the right isn't as important as it's been on the previous 2 days. It seems like there are more opportunities in the middle of the racetrack.
Exactly. Maybe the current is a little bit less than the previous day, and then the wind is more clear, just a few hundred meters far away from the beaches. And also we saw by the drone a couple of free rider also, you know, which if you come closer to the shore, you have to avoid them. So it's also just to avoid to get in trouble with some free riders close to the shore, which they have also the right to practice.
Well, that's true, yeah. So extra hazards to think about if you go into the right-hand side. So at the moment, Maddie Anderson looks like she might be doing very well on her inshore course, as long as she doesn't snag any of those freestyling and free riding kites and some of the other traffic that you find close to the beach. And Lauriane Nolot coming into the mix now. Daniela Moroz up there, Annaloes Lammerts from the Netherlands, and our yellow bib wearer from Great Britain, Ellie Aldridge, Gal Zuckerman from Israel in amongst the front few. But it's very, very difficult to say who's really got the advantage at this stage.
They are so close, they're still so close that until we don't see start tacking on the lane line and be on starboard hitting the top mark, there is no way to really understand who is who.
Maddie Anderson's tacked on to starboard, so we'll see how she's doing. But if you look to the right of screen and you see the light blue kite of Lauriane Nolot, winner of the previous 5 races, Nolot again showing just a click more speed, about 1 knot through the water upwind, more speed than the other boards around her, and she's got clear air. So Lauriane Nolot looking very, very good again in her position out towards the left-hand side of the, well, right as we look at it now.
I think soon we will start to see tacking. It's going to be, I'm really curious to see if the kite riders in our left part of the screen, they manage to get in front of the port. Yeah, few of them yes, the other no. So it's going to be interesting on the rounding mark.
Lauriane Nolot doing very well, coming in from the left-hand side. And Nolot has now tacked onto starboard. Zuckerman and Moroz also doing very well, and Maddie Anderson that went close into the shore doing very well with the, I think that's Maddie with the orange kite. So that's Maddie Anderson fighting with Lauriane Nolot. Maddie Anderson a little bit over ley line, so she's going a little bit faster with the orange kite on the left of your screen. But if Lauriane Nolot with the blue kite has judged this correctly, then this is going to be Nolot rounding the windward mark, and this is setting her on her way potentially to her 6th consecutive race win if she's getting this right on the ley line. Nolot, then Anderson with the orange kite, but Moroz also in there. Moroz with the fly surfer on the right-hand side of this pack. This is going to be so busy going around this windward mark. This is all going to play into the hands of Nolot, who's going to get round in second.
Maddie Henderson and Poi Manulan straight behind. Gal Zuckerman and Daniela Moroz with the fly surfer.
Right, so some of the usual suspects are certainly up there, but Maddie Anderson, we haven't said so much about her so far today, so a good performance by the British rider. And Ellie Aldridge also up in amongst the front few as well. Maddie Anderson, she's shown us first there. It's not Maddie Anderson, it's Lauriane Nolot who is leading, and leading by quite a comfortable distance at the moment, because the battle for 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th is very, very close indeed. And that's going to play into the hands of the leader as the others battle amongst themselves.
Yeah, pretty nice to see Gal Zuckerman and Maddie Anderson on really close to the lead on the top of the fleet for the first downwind leg. But having just straight behind Daniela Moroz and Poi Manulan, they're not good client to have it behind. So
Zuckerman is pulling out some better performances just when she needed to, because she's in 10th place going into this race, and she is going to stretch her gap on Heloise Piguria, who's currently in 11th. And remember that if you can make the cut for the top 10, then that makes all the difference tomorrow, because even if Zuckerman goes into tomorrow in 10th place, she has the potential to win this event outright and overtake the likes of Lauriane Nolot. But it's Lauriane Nolot leading this race on the right-hand side of our screen with the blue kites. And then look at that battle. It still hasn't cleared up. It's a very, very tight battle between 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th. And at the moment, it is Maddie Anderson who is lying in 2nd with the orange kite, followed by Daniela Moroz in 3rd, the 5-time world champion, looking to overtake the British rider with the orange kite. This is Nolot coming down to the bottom gate. Most of the time we've seen the leaders choose to go out to sea. They've got a choice of rounding marks, but it's the easier maneuver that Nolot is likely to choose that will be swinging that kite round the right-hand mark as she looks at it, the one that will take her out to sea. And she's got a very nice lead at the moment, on course for her 6th consecutive win. This is the battle with for 2nd place, with Maddie Anderson on the left with the orange kite, followed by Daniela Moroz, and then
Maddie Anderson.
Maddie Anderson on in 2nd.
Just
Nolot
behind
round.
with the grey, with the grey F1, and then Poi Manulan straight behind.
Ah, right, okay. So very, very close round for 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. And around went Ellie Aldridge and Leonie Meyer just behind the front pack.
Amazing, just in a kitchen sea round between 5th and 6th on the top mark, she lost quite a lot of spot all the way downwind. Now seems to be on 9th position with Eloise Piguria and Jemima Crathorne, but it's a pack really all close each other. It's going to be really important. You see they choose again the center of the course, I mean center right side of the course, not all the way using the left mark and come too much to the closer to the shore. So they went on the right side just a couple of seconds, then start tacking on port. Almost the same tactics as after the start.
So we got Nolo with the blue kite. Who's that with the black kite? Is that
Poema
Newland?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the two French riders battling it out, but it's Nolo yet again for the 6th race running, who is leading and looking very, very comfortable indeed.
Yeah, she gained quite a good angle. We can't see from this perspective Poema how far behind, but upwind as well. You can see the VMG, the speed, maximum speed that they have, 22 knots on upwind, is quite not a bad speed. We still have 12, 13 knots of true wind speed, so they are almost double at the wind.
And Maddie Anderson on the right-hand side with Daniela Moroz. They're running out of water. They're going to hit that beach soon. So I wonder if they're tacking because they have to or tacking because they think they're on the ley line. That's Moroz and Maddie Anderson tacking simultaneously. Now, it looks like Nolo is going to tack on the same line, so they should just about be okay. So should mean that Anderson and Moroz have completed their final tack. Who's this coming in from the left? That's Poema Newland. Can she get her kite settled down and up and running? Tacks just ahead of Daniela Moroz. That's not going to help Moroz, but Nolo looking very comfortable through the chop with the light blue ozone kite, still leading very comfortably. And it looks like Zuckerman on the right of our screen. She's the one, the furthest right. I wonder if Zuckerman is going to need to do 2 more tacks. So that could be expensive for the Israeli, although there's quite a big gap back. So Zuckerman should be able to hold on to 5th place, even with doing 2 more tacks.
Yeah, anyway, good move for Poema Newland. Again, if she's going to make it, she will just round the mark behind Lauriane Nolo. Again, French team on the lead. Straight behind Daniela Moroz and Maddie Anderson and Gal Zuckerman. They keep the same pace of Daniela Moroz. So Daniela, she squeezed it between Maddie and Gal Zuckerman.
Nolo is safely round the top mark for the final time. Is she going to go for an early jibe? We haven't seen it yet. Going round in second, Poema Newland. That's a great last part of the beat for Newland. Look at the gap that she stretched on Daniela Moroz, with Maddie Anderson now back in 4th, being chased closely by Zuckerman. And Anderson going for an early jibe, maybe? Yes, she does. So the British rider first to jibe of this pack, but we haven't seen where Nolo is yet, so maybe Nolo has jibed as well. Newland has jibed, so Daniela Moroz is going out to the left on starboard, and Zuckerman also in the middle of our picture. That's Zuckerman jibing now. So Moroz going for something different. Only now is Daniela Moroz jibing, so looking to find something different further out to sea. That's Poema Newland coming downwind in 2nd place. That's Daniela, sorry. Couldn't quite see with the shading on the kite. Looks like it's a fly surfer kite, so it's Daniela Moroz that we're looking at coming downwind and attacking from further out to sea, doing about 30 knots of speed right now. So is this going to be an overtaking move for Moroz? She's trying something different.
Yeah, she's definitely tried to attack Poema, and she will try until the end, I can tell you. And
Maddie Anderson has just jibed, and it's quite close between Moroz and Anderson still. Is Moroz going to be able to get down in front of Anderson? It's very close between those two. So not much to choose between them. It looks like Moroz is going to she does get ahead of Anderson. She goes beyond the line of Poema Newland. So Moroz attacking from the shore side this time. Nolot still leading. And Nolot looking comfortable, but there is a little bit of traffic down near the shore. She's got through the wash and the wake of some of the other leisure activities going on closer to the shore. Everything is so finely balanced on these boards. Even a small piece of weed can trip these boards up and send them from 30 knots down to 0 very, very quickly. And one of the reasons they like Gizzeria is that there isn't much in their way. There isn't much of a problem with weed. There's not a problem with litter, with plastic bags and things like that. This is good, clean racing here in Gizzeria. A bit of pumping of the board going on there by Lauriane Nolot. It looks like maybe she jibed a little bit too early, but she's now on her final approach to the finish line, and there is clear water between Lauriane Nolot and Poema Newland in second place, and this is going to be the 6th race on the trot for Lauriane Nolot, already relaxing a little bit, or maybe just starting to take a breather. She's going to be very, very tired at the end of the day, but she's also going to be very excited because as things stand, she has won 4 out of 4 races today. And could she make it a perfect 5 going into the last race of the afternoon? Daniela Moroz going across the line, but it's Poema Newland who was second.
She must be really happy.
That's Nolot celebrating as she comes ashore. Look how happy she is. And let's keep the camera on the rest of the finishers as they go across the line now. So this is the back end of the top 10 crossing the finish line. With Nolot, Newland, Moroz, Anderson in 4th, Zuckerman in 5th, Aldrich in 6th, Lammertz 7th, Meyer 8th, Dabson from Great Britain 9th, Ashkenazi from Israel in the top 10. So that's your top 10 for you, but the only winner so far today is Lauriane Nolot, who has now won 6 races in a row. We'll go to an ad break. Back to you soon.
Meet the R1 V4, our highest performance Olympic and IKA registered racing machine.
Right, so that's the beautiful view from the shore. That's pretty much the view that we have from our commentary position in a tent, just 20 meters away from the water. And what a lucky couple of commentators we are. So beautiful view over Gizzeria Beach.
Yeah.
And it doesn't get much better than this, especially for Lauriane Nolot. I bet she can't quite believe how she's performing right now, Mirko.
You know how difficult it is to be so consistent to get bullet every single race, and starting from yesterday, following up on today, stay on the front, not making mistake, consistency, 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, 6 times. She must be impressed because she know better than us that it's not easy at all. So we will looking forward to interview her at the end of the day.
Yes, if she's got any breath left to be able to talk to us.
To say something.
We've got a bit of a gap until the start of the final race for the men this afternoon, but let's have a look at the results after race 14 for the men and see how things have changed. So we wondered where Tony Vodisek was in that last race, and well, he got a DNC, so he didn't get any points on the board for that race. So that means that Dennis Taradin now has a 4-point lead at the top of the leaderboard, and it could be that Dennis goes through tomorrow wearing the yellow bib, which we can talk about the importance of that in a moment. Lorenzo Boschetti still in third place. Riccardo Pianozzi second, closes the gap to Boschetti. It's still in fourth place. And Theo de Remicourt, winner of the last two races, but still not able to close the gap to fifth place Axel Mazzella. Now, Mazzella's not had such a stellar day today, so will Theo de Remicourt be able to win another race and close that gap further? Bruno Lobo in seventh, Florian Gruber in eighth, and Conor Bainbridge in ninth, Mario Calbucci in 10th. So Mario was just outside the top 10 today, but Mario has just moved into the top 10. So Mirko, that's going to be an important move for Mario, isn't it?
Yeah, for sure, because it might be the one that can play a card tomorrow on the semi-final to get a better spot. You know, when you enter on the semi-final as a 10, you don't have nothing to lose. So you will put 100% of yourself doing maybe some strange things to get more to get better position at the end. So you don't have nothing to lose, which is sometimes is the right way in your mind to stay relaxed and not to be under pressure.
Now the medal series applies to the men and the women, but we were just watching the A's, the youth A's going upwind, and that's who we see. We see them flying upwind. They are doing a straight series, and that means that Jan Stragiotti, who's won going into today 6 out of the 8 races, is going to be very difficult to beat. Indeed. We've got another video to show you about the A's. I think Simone Vanucci appears in that. So if we can play that video and just tell you a little bit more about the A's youth foil class.
A new era is born, you know. We're here because it's a European Championship and it's the first big event in Europe of this new class. Kids were waiting for a way to get into foiling, dreaming for Olympic Games, and this is the path. The path goes through a simple foil and inflatable kite, something so safe and affordable, and that's what we like in Italy as well, because we have so many places, so many yacht clubs, so many reality that we're really looking for something easy to promote, and we're full on like we were on the TTR. Now we are putting our best energy into a foil to grow a big class in Italy. Of course, I think for everyone is the same. You're gonna go and try to find the best young talent, take them from the beach, tell them that kiteboarding is not just jumping, which is hard, and then give them ace to try, and most likely once they get good at it and they taste the flavor of racing, then they're ready, they're hooked, and then they want to compete, and after that they're gonna switch to formal. This is the plan. Ace is kiteboarding, but it's sailing. So if you have a background in sailing as a young kid, of course you have an advantage in terms of knowing the course and knowing the wind and all the kind of stuff. So you have already a background that you can transfer in kiteboarding, and all you have to do is just learn how to fly a kite and get to the level where you can race, and you can transfer your talents to it. We have a big advantage as a young kiteboarding class is the kiteboarding fun. Even if in the Ace it's racing, but it's still kiteboarding is still fun. So we have no problem convincing kids from other classes to pass on. All we have to do is just take them to a nice beach, show them how to fly a kite, and get them into the first steps. And after that, it's downhill because it's so much fun.
So the A's youth foils firing around the course, and as soon as they have finished their race, then we are going to be getting back to the last race of the afternoon for the men. And there's some good tight racing going on there. It looks like someone is ahead of Jan Stragiotti. I think that could be Jan on the right with the black kite. So it looks like there's some good competition going on there between the A's youth foil fleet. KiteFoil World Series, that is quite an interesting and quite unique thing in any of the Olympic classes. It's a really important opportunity for development of gear and equipment, and one of the chief developers is Benny from Fly Surfer. So let's hear Benny's take on the importance of the KiteFoil World Series. Benny Boeli is here in Gran Canaria as part of the Fly Surfer test team. So Benny, we've seen you with Flo Gruber, the German sailor, this morning just before competition begins. Tell us about the process that you've been going through and why it's important.
Yeah, basically we try to improve the VMG, and like actually all products we try to improve all the time. And in this case today we tried to change minor things on the bridles to basically make the VMG even better. And yeah, the process looks basically like Florian is going out for 2 upwind runs, 2 downwind runs, comes back in, we do a change, talk about the ideas, gives me feedback how it was, and then we change something, and then we repeat until we are happy. And yeah, then if we are happy, we go racing.
And there's testing in a testing environment, and there's testing in a race environment. So tell me about why the KiteFoil World Series fulfills that special role in the world of development.
Yeah, the KiteFoil World Series are especially important for us as a manufacturer because we have a registered product, which is the VMG2 for this Olympic cycle. But still we need to improve the kite also for the next Olympic cycle. And the test environment during racing is very different to testing in with only 2 people on the water, because in racing you actually always have dirty air of someone, especially on the start line, to get away from the pack. It's important to have a kite where you are able to have, for example, a speed mode to go fast, or high mode to pinch high to go away from the pack. So yeah, racing or testing in the race environment is really important. So that's why the KiteFoil World Series are great to have, because we can test prototypes.
So there are kites that could be really fast in clear air and no other boards around, and then they could be really slow in a race environment because they're just not adaptable enough in the way that you're saying.
Yeah, not really. I would not say slow, but during racing you need to have different options to overtake someone. For example, you can go underneath him and then go faster than him, or you pinch away or push him away from the lee side. So basically you have to have a kite which has different modes, different options, which gives you a lot of possibilities on the race course, and that's why it's so important to test also during racing.
And you said that the kite that you're testing here is not for this Olympic cycle, for Paris 2024. You're actually developing kites now for the following cycle already, for LA 2028?
Well, we did not start with the next project for 2028 yet, but we still try to improve the VMG2 and learn from there to have basically knowledge again when we start with the next project, to have a better starting point. Yeah, so basically the kites we are testing here are serial kites with minor changes on the bridling, and yeah, till now we did not find anything better, so we'll see.
Great. Well, Benny, good to see you down here supporting your riders, and yeah, let's see how those fly surfers go this week.
Let's see, yeah.
Benny So Chubanga and Levitas, they seem to be the two dominant foil manufacturers. And sometimes you see, especially at the KiteFoil World Series, people experimenting with the different ones. What's your understanding of the difference between Chubanga and Levitas?
They are starting from two different projects, two different idea. I mean, the same meaning is a foil. There is a kind of profile techniques, drawing, but the way how to assemble it and to use different angle between the front wing and the stabilizer on the back, kind of shape fuselage, and also the mast in the way of positioning profile. They just start from two different really idea, and it's quite insane that you can see now after a couple of years almost 50% of the fleet they are just splitting between Chubanga and Levitas. We have a couple of flying sardine, I guess, which also is appearing sometime on the series, but Levitas and Chubanga, they are definitely the two foils to be chosen to stay on the front of the fleet. Super performance, and I guess both of them, they are starting to have some kind of new addiction, which obviously we can't see by eyes, but let's see what is gonna happen, I guess, on the next year, using the KiteFoil World Series, where it's allowed to use those prototype and see how it gets better and better for the next cycle.
Yeah, I mean, just looking at the women's scores at the moment, the top two, Lorian Nolo and Daniela Moroz, are using Levitas foils, but then the next four after them are using Chubanga. Yeah, there you have it. There is the foils and the kites, and you can see Fly Surfer and Ozone both very well represented, and Levitas and Chubanga both very well represented. In terms of the overall standings, well, Lorian Nolo, she wasn't even wearing a coloured bib at the beginning of the day. She was outside of the top three. Now she's firmly in first place, having won the 6 last races of this competition and looking very difficult to stop. Daniela Moroz on 27 points, Ellie Aldridge on 32, Poema Newland on 36, and look at the gap to Maddie Anderson in 5th, double the points of Poema Newland. You jump from 36 to 72. And then Leonie Meyer, Annalise Lammerts, Jessie Campman, Gal Zuckerman and Katie Dabson are rounding out the other end of the top 10. And so Gal Zuckerman getting herself more comfortably inside the top 10, the Israeli rider having been outside of the top 10 going into today. So that's absolutely critical. But it's becoming quite clear that not only are Lorian Nolo and Daniela Moroz likely to take the top 2 spots, but Ellie Aldridge and Poema Newland are pretty much confirmed to be the leading riders going into their sides of the semi-final draw. And all of that is important tomorrow for those top 4, isn't it? Because each of those top 4 is carrying through a different kind of advantage going into the final tomorrow.
Yes, because once you got on the 2 first, they will get into the final with the first one is going to be with 2 bullets, and the other one is going to be with 1. So, if example Lorian, she will start to run the final with 2 bullets, one bullet more, and it's over for everyone. But it's going to be really interesting, the semi-final between. Because from Maddie to the number 10, Katie Dobson, there is only 6 points. And I can tell you, let's see the last race afterward, after the last race of the day from the band, which is race 15, 2 minutes and 24 seconds to go. Andy.
And I hope the photographers and the videographers that we're working with here are paying big attention, because this is where we need to be capturing the who comes ashore and what kind of emotions we capture when we see the riders come ashore. Because the amazing thing about this finish line is that it is only 100 meters off the shore. So literally less than 20 seconds after winning a race or coming 10th or wherever you finish in the race, you are jumping off your board and onto the beach. It's quite incredible. The sail ashore is, as you can see it there, is literally less than 20 seconds from finish to landing on the beach. How good is that? We've got 1 minute 35 to the start of this final race of the afternoon. This is the last fleet race before the top 10 go through into the medal series tomorrow. And already you can see them lining up and jostling for position. And I wonder if one of the reasons why Laurent Nelot is sailing so comfortably today and winning these races more comfortably than previous days, the port hand advantage doesn't seem to be here today, Mirko. It seems like this is a much more open race course, so there's less pressure to get that really risky port tack start. It's get a good start on starboard, and then you can use your speed advantage that Laurent Nelot has. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely, you're right. Doesn't seem to pay off so much to have the risk on start on port. Our race director, Michal, did a good job on positioning the starting line without too much BS on the pin end, and also the wind just is a little bit more to the left. So let's see. I guess that most of them they will be on starboard. Few of them for sure they will be on port. I don't see that they get the chance to start on port in the front of the starboard.
Right.
So,
well, let's see how they line up. There's a couple going behind the fleet on port, but that's all. Actually, no, a few more than we've seen lately. And is someone gone for the front? Someone has gone for a port tack start across the fleet.
One make it. One make it.
Right, let's see if we can identify who that is. What a start. If they manage to get away with this, but there's still a starboard tack starter that they're only just going to get across. Have they managed to do it all the way? I think they have.
Is the UFD. Okay.
So it's the UFD. So that means U flag disqualified. So it looks great on camera, but we hear that was a disqualification for breaking the start line.
I guess it was Angelo Soli, an Italian young rider. Angelo Soli, to me, it was the one UFD, unfortunately, because it just make it, but obvious it was close the gate, and if you make it, it was just a second forward to the time.
Oh, well, a great moment for him, but luckily, unfortunately, he'll find out later on that it's a UFD, but fortunately, he didn't snag anybody else, because that can get really messy with the tangles.
Yeah, you can see now with the tracking, we have Angelo Soli firmly on first position, but unfortunately, I guess it was him, UFD. And Pianozzi, the other Italian, young rocket, is in
second place.
Yeah, and then Valentin Bontus also.
Bontus having another good start to the race. Bontus struggles to hold on to his early positions, but that will come with more experience as well. Bontus still fairly new to the whole world of kite foiling, and working hard towards qualifying Austria for the Olympic Games at Paris 2024. Vodisek didn't manage to get a score in the last race. Tony Vodisek from Slovenia also doing very well in this race, along with two Germans, Janis Maus and Florian Gruber. And Theo de Ramacourt is in amongst the front few as well.
Look at the view from here. You can see how the wind bend and how the advantage is to stay close to shore. But it seems that now there is a little bit more wind on the center of the course. This is why the tracking system keep changing the leading, and now Tony Vodisek seems to be on first. But we need them to stay on starboard after hitting the ley line. Then it's gonna be maybe more accurate, I must say.
Yeah, let's find out. That's going to be the key moment, is when they tack onto that ley line, and the boats or the boards by the shore are already doing that. So Vodisek is on to his final approach on starboard and looking good for it. Florian Gruber, the experienced German, also up there, and Azule from Israel, a name we haven't said too much about, along with Tiger Tyson from Antigua doing well.
And Janis Maus, Denis Saladin, Theo de Ramacourt in fifth. Jan de Falbert from Mauritius. Yeah.
Look at that lead for Tony Vodisek, absolutely running away with this race right now, and slightly over ley line because he's doing more than 24 knots upwind. That's unusually fast. So I think the leaders have slightly overstood the ley line, but that doesn't matter too much because there's no one threatening from further to leeward for Tony Vodisek, who has got clear water between himself and the rest of the pack. So Vodisek has actually had a pretty good day today already with a third, a two, a third, but then didn't get a score in the last race. Now he's leading this one. What's he going to choose? An early jibe maybe? Let's find out. It's going to be really tight traffic going around with the next group with Gruber, Taradin, Mouse and Daramacor all going round together.
Super close. Was a really high risk on the inside. Bearing away, and the kite went all the way to the right side. Was super risky to get tangled then.
And look at the tangles we're going to get here. I mean, will everyone manage to get round cleanly between 8th and 28th place? Look how busy it is as they go round the windward mark. Quite incredible.
Yeah, we saw in Campione a couple of time without any particular problem, but it's amazing when they're rounding the mark so close in the pack, and the first one did a mistake, and it's a domino effect.
And Taradin, trying to work out, he is amongst that front group, so Taradin could still hold on to his lead, but Vodisek is certainly going to close the points gap on Dennis Taradin. So this is a critical race to see who comes out tomorrow with the yellow bib. At the moment, it's extremely close on points, and we will try and update you at the end of the race if we can work out the points to let you know who is going to take that yellow bib going into the bib presentation tomorrow morning, because that will give them match point going into the four-board final tomorrow afternoon for the very end of the KiteFoil World Series Gizzeria. Going very close to the shore this time, Tony Vodisek and the chasing pack in 2nd, 3rd, 4th and 5th. That is Gruber, Taradin, Daramacor and Yanis Mouse. 2 Germans against a Frenchman and the Cypriot Taradin. So Taradin doing enough in that pack to hold on to the lead. So if the overall lead, that is. So Tony Vodisek doing what he can do to close the gap, but it's going to take a mistake from Taradin to give up the yellow bib that looks certain to be his by the end of today. Look at that gap between Vodisek, who's clean round the leeward mark, and the next board just to go round. Well, it is Taradin. So for all of Vodisek's 150 or 200 meter lead, it's Taradin, his arch rival, who goes round in 2nd place, followed by Florian Gruber, this is one of Gruber's best performances of the week so far, isn't it? I think it is his best.
Yes, absolutely. And beside that, Vodisek and Taradin, second. Taradin, Dennis know pretty well that he need to not having more than 4 spots between him and Tony to keep the leading. And it means that he will jump into the final with 2 bullets, which he definitely has in his head already. And Tony, he will try to lead and pray maybe for a mistake of Dennis Taradin. So it's going to be a battle, mental battle between them.
Yeah.
And as you said, Florian Gruber is definitely 3rd, and is really great result for him. And Theodor Amecourt just chasing Gruber. It's going to be really difficult for him keeping in his pack Theodor Amecourt, and then we have Riccardo Pianozzi, Yanis Mouse, Hazulai, Mazzella, Boschetti, and Tiger Tyson closing the top 10 now.
Vodisek flying upwind at about 23 knots. Still with a good gap back to Dennis Taradin, who's leading the rest of the pack.
Yeah, he closed a little bit the gaps, because when he started the second upwind leg, it was a little bit more than 200 meters. Now he reduced by 50 meters. Still enough for Tony to lead, and still enough for Dennis to keep the lead on the general.
I guess we'll see that gap stretch as they go on the faster downwind leg, when they go from 23 knots to 32 knots, let's say, down the final run. But either way, that's night and day between Vodosek and the rest of the pack. Denis Taradin also going fast, doing about 22 knots upwind. And Teo de Ramacour in third.
Okay.
We saw Teo de Ramacour overtake from third into first place on the previous race. Looks unlikely he's going to be able to pull that trick this time round.
Tony was the first going on starboard, hitting the ley line, go straight to the top mark.
So Vodosek doing 22, 23 knots. Looks like he's judged his ley line pretty well. And on the same line behind him is Taradin, de Ramacour, Gruber and Riccardo Pianozzi from Italy.
Yes, pretty insane. Yes, Pianozzi is chasing Gruber as well. Boschetti sitting in 9. He didn't have a great start. He's trying to struggle to get outside of the middle pack, closing the top 10 position. They are really close by. It's not easy to run on the clear air.
Which could mean that Pianozzi moves into third spot tomorrow. But does that really make a difference? Is there any difference between being third or fourth?
No, not really. Not really. So it's just, I think, in the mind.
It's nice to get that, but he won't even get the red bib tomorrow. I won't explain why at the moment, but Taradin round in second, a long way back behind Tony Vodosek, still leading. Teo de Ramacour round in third, and then Florian Gruber with Riccardo Pianozzi close behind him. Then Yanis Maus, Azule from Israel, and Axel Mazzella in eighth, with Lorenzo Boschetti looking to be a ninth at the moment and possibly might slip to fourth overall. Could be that Riccardo Pianozzi gets up into third place overall by the end of this race.
Yeah, there was only 5 points between Lorenzo Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi. Pretty difficult to say if there is some discarded play in favor to one or to the other. So it is some calculation on it, but it might be the chance that Riccardo moved to third at the end of the 15th race.
The other one to think about is who's going to end up with 10th spot. Is it going to be, for example, Mario Kelbucci from Italy in 10th at the moment? Or is Jan Marciniak from Poland going to be able to close the gap? So we need to keep an eye on Kelbucci, Marciniak and Edegren from the USA, just to see who manages to scrape through for that important 10th spot.
Yes, and then there is only still 8 to 9 points difference, because Mario on the last two was 11-11, and then Ian Marciniak just scored a DNC, which is heavy for him in his pack. So it might cost him to stay out of the top 10.
That could be it. That could be what determines it. But meanwhile, the fight at the front continues with Tony Vodosek still leading now by almost 300 meters from Denis Taradin. So what a runaway victory this is going to be for Vodosek, provided he gets round this jibe at a speed of 30 knots. And he is safely round the jibe. Now it's get that kite into the power zone for the beam reach for the final few hundred meters across to the finish line. And what a great way for Tony Vodosek, the yellow bib wearer, to finish off his day. It's not been the best of days for him. It's not been terrible either.
It's the first bullet of the day. It's the last race. Is the first bullet, because he scored 2-3 seconds and he never got any first today. So
let's follow the next ones across the line. Let's see who's coming through. It's Taradin coming across in second, closely followed by Teo de Ramacour. So Taradin gets second. That confirms Taradin will have done enough to be yellow bib wearer tomorrow. That's a critical performance by Denis Taradin, winner here last year and well on his way, done everything he can to put himself in the best position to win again in 2022. Teo de Ramacour, winner of 2 races today, third in that race just then. And Bruno Lobo doing very well for Brazil. And Lorenzo Boschetti also making up ground on the final run to the finish. but maybe not enough. And Pianozzi is in 4th, Florian Gruber in 5th, Yannis Maus in 6th, Mazzella 7th, Azule 8th, Lobo 9th, and Boschetti actually in 10th. I thought he'd climbed, but no. Boschetti may well have done... He may have slipped to 4th overall. It's a bit academic because the difference between 3rd and 4th, there isn't really any difference. It means that each of those Italians will be going through into the semi-finals with 2 race wins. And a great bit of acrobatics there. What a great way to finish off the afternoon. Couldn't quite work out who that was just then.
There's someone which for sure was happy. That was the last
yes.
finish line crossing of the day.
That looks so much fun. Why don't we see them do that more often, Mirko?
Because they don't want to get in trouble between races, I guess.
Right. That was some big air we saw just then. Okay, we'll go to an ad and we will come back to you shortly.
We are on.
Okay, so that is the beautiful view from our beachside commentary position, less than 20 meters from the beach. It doesn't get much better than this, really, does it, Mirko? I can see why Gizzeria, people keep on coming back here.
No, you know what is really important? That you don't have only one thing, which is nice, because we have great beaches. We can see all the kiters, nice breeze, side shore wind. We got some breeze here inside. I mean, it's warm, but not too much. 1 minute to go, and we can see the starting line on our left and the finish line just in front. So what more? It's like a stadium.
We just need a beer and then it's perfect, man.
Later, Andy.
Yeah. Right, we got the serious business coming into the final minute of this last race of the afternoon. This is going to determine who goes through to get the yellow bib tomorrow. And after 6 straight race wins, Lauriane Nolot sits in the lead overall, even though she came into the competition today outside of the top 3. That's how good a day the French rider has had. And it seems like there's little stopping her. With 30 seconds to go, that is the leaderboard. Nolot, Moroz, Aldridge are the top 3. Poem and Newland in 4th. And then look at the big gap back to Maddie Anderson and the rest in 5th. So here's the situation. One rider going out on her own towards the pin end of the race course. I'm not seeing any brave move by anybody to...
Only Maddie Anderson, but I don't think she can make her go in front of all the fleet. Let's see. Ooh. Look at on the bottom.
She's going for it. Is she going to get this? Maddie Anderson... She's
brave. She's brave,
but that's not quite enough.
No, not enough.
It was a clear start, and has Maddie Anderson done enough to keep herself in that starboard line? So not too bad by Maddie Anderson. It was maybe worth the risk. She's still in a pretty good position going out to the left-hand side of the race course as the riders look at it. But someone's got a really nice start off the starboard end of the line. It's one of the fly surfers. We'll try and identify who that is. Meanwhile, Lauriane Nolot also well placed with her blue kite, doing very nicely in the early stages.
So the first that they put themselves on port are Daniela Moroz and Ashkenazi, and then we have Lammer, Zuckerman, Katie Dobson just running in front of us.
So that's Just in our commentary position, Angelo Soli just finds out that he got a UFD for his amazing port tack start, disqualified for starting a little bit too soon. So he did that whole race. He didn't know, and he's found that it didn't count for anything. But anyway, well done to him for having a go.
It's going to be a good videos.
Yes, exactly. And he can pretend that he actually managed to do it without UFDing. So up in the front few, we've got Ellie Aldridge doing well, Lauriane Nolot, Daniela Moroz, Leonie Meyer, Annalise Lammertz, Justina Kitchen. Those are amongst the top few, but it's still early days. I think Nolot and her superior speed is going to come through again for her. I just think these conditions work so beautifully for Lauriane Nolot. She's one of the bigger riders in the female lineup, and she uses her raw power to give herself about another knot of advantage going upwind. Typically, it's a knot, and sometimes more. At the moment, she's doing close to 23 knots, and most of the other riders are doing 21, touching 22. So I think Nolot is looking really good to come into her own again, and maybe could she possibly win 7 races in a row. Getting very close to the shore. Sorry.
Yes, no, it would be amazing if she will manage to get a 7 bullet in a row.
Getting so close to the shore, have they got close enough to be able to hit that ley line in one go, or is it going to be another double tack for some of them?
Doesn't seem to be enough to get to the top mark, but maybe the wind over there switching a little bit more to the left and give them able to have enough angle to get them to get the mark without doing another tack.
So Daniela Moroz doing very well. And it could be Moroz that we see bottom of our picture, just trying to identify, but I think that could be Moroz. And Lammertz, I think with the black ozone kite in second. Ellie Aldridge also doing very well, and Gal Zuckerman. Nolot with a bit of catching up to do. This could make things interesting. Nolot not in the lead at this stage, but she is the fastest board going upwind. So will Nolot be able to get herself out of traffic and in the lead? Daniela Moroz, the American 5-time world champion, in the lead, and looks like she's picked an extremely good ley line angle. A good 50-meter gap back to the next rider, and that's Lammertz from the Netherlands, going back to Aldridge, the yellow bib wearer from Great Britain, in third. But who's that? That's Gal Zuckerman. So often we see Gal Zuckerman a little bit below ley line. If Gal Zuckerman could make this,
from then all the way from the leeward part, just maybe the wind, like we said, the wind was just switching a bit, switching enough to hitting the ley line from the leeward position and get the rounding mark done.
Well, that's great sailing by the Israeli Gal Zuckerman, undercutting that ley line and making it work and putting her into second, with Lammertz in third and Aldrich in fourth. And now the traffic goes round. Nolot in fifth, Dabson, Craythorne from Great Britain, Ashkenazi, Israel, Laporte, Newland, Meyer, Young. Anderson, such a good start, but back in about 12th place right now. But look at the lead for Daniela Moroz. Is anyone going to take this away from Moroz? It's hard to imagine that Moroz is going to give up such a lead easily.
I mean, when you have Daniela in the lead, is what happened is just a mistake. Otherwise, there is no one that can overtake her when she's on the front.
Zuckerman, after that great ley line call, is still in second, followed by Lammertz, and then being chased by Aldrich and Nolot. But I'm wondering, where Nolot is. Has she changed kites to a fly surfer?
It might, because she was on the blue ozone before, and she changed kite. Which sounds a little bit strange after you have 6 bullets in a row and you change kite on the last race, but
maybe she just wants to test some gear before she goes into tomorrow, give herself some options. Maybe she feels she's done enough to hold on to the yellow bib. And as things stand, she has. But yeah, that seems quite risky to be changing your kite. Right, we'll keep an eye on that and see if we can identify Lauriane, and could it be a Flymax? We'll see if we can work that out.
Yeah, there is one kite which is totally white, which we didn't see before.
Meanwhile, we're looking at Daniela Moroz leading by almost 160 meters, just about to go round the leeward mark. Nice clean rounding by the American. And easy sailing for Moroz. Lying in second overall. Now comes the traffic.
So,
well, we wonder if that Flymax could be Nolo.
Yeah, she can be only on the white Flymax. And definitely on between third and fourth position. Yep. Okay, now we can see. With the long lens camera, definitely she's her.
Right. So, Nolo is the fastest board upwind. Is she going to be able to reel in Zuckerman?
Oh, no. That's not the French. This is a Zuckerman.
That looks like Zuckerman. Yeah,
Zuckerman.
So Zuckerman on a Flymax. So
yeah,
that's unusual. I'm not used to seeing Zuckerman with Flymax.
There is a lot of mix, Andy.
Yes.
They do it on purpose.
How dare they?
Make...
We're going to have to change the rules on this KiteFoil World Sailing Series, World Series. It's too complicated. But they are allowed to use exactly whatever gear they want, which means this is the great opportunity to experiment. So normally we see Gal Zuckerman using ozone, and this time round she's using Flymax and making it work right now in second place.
And she's going 22 to 23 knots upwind, just straight behind Daniela Moroz.
Lamet's also looking dangerous on the right-hand side of our screen with the black ozone. It looks like she's a little bit higher. Zuckerman looks like she's struggling a little bit for height. Got good speed, but I think Lamet's has better angle. So Zuckerman needs to be careful not to fall down to the line of Lamet's. But no such problems for Daniela Moroz, leading quite comfortably by more than 130 meters from the next two. And Nolo, we think might be... We think that could be Nolo with the black ozone.
I don't think so.
Well, we keep trying to work this out.
Yeah, Nolo, she's all the way windward to the front fleet.
Daniela Moroz onto her final tack, assuming that she has picked the ley line correctly, whereas second and third have tacked a little bit earlier. So is Zuckerman... Oh, it's quite complicated, actually. They're not a clear second and third. It looks like the fight for second to sixth place is still quite busy. Zuckerman gone for a very below ley line option, just as she did the previous time, and she managed to make it work. Will Zuckerman be able to do it? She's the most right-hand side of the riders that we see on screen right now. Zuckerman putting herself under pressure. If she doesn't get this right, then she has got a bunch of starboard tackers that she's going to struggle to find a clear lane against. So Daniela Moroz, I think we know that she's going to get safely around this mark, but let's keep our eye on Zuckerman and see if the Israeli, for the second time running, can climb her way up to the ley line and successfully get around this windward mark without the double tack. And if she does, that is really great board and kite control by the Israeli.
Yeah, they're really close to the windward mark.
Look at the speed difference. Zuckerman giving away 2 or 3 knots of speed advantage, trying to pinch up towards that mark. It looks like Zuckerman has managed to do it, and actually her board speed is back up to almost 20 knots. So again, really good, precise, accurate.
And Lauriane on their Flymax, on their Fly Surfer on third.
Right,
just
so she
chasing.
has changed kites on us. Yeah, so trying to confuse us. So
Okay.
Zuckerman and Nolo, they are locked in a battle for second and third. I think they have to accept that Moroz is going to win this race, but Zuckerman pinching up towards that windward mark has opened the door for Nolo to catch up to potentially overtaking the Israeli and getting up into second place. It's all a bit academic because Nolo is done enough for sure right now to take the yellow bib tomorrow. And we need to keep an eye on the positions as they cross the line as to where people are going to be for 10th place. That's something we also need to keep an eye out for. At the moment, it's Katie Dabson, the British rider, who holds a 6-point advantage over Heloise Pegorier from France. So that is the critical battle. And Zuckerman still in 9th, but she'll rise a little bit more if she manages to hold on to second.
Because now Katie Dobson, she's sitting 5th. She almost makes sure that she can stay on the top 10 and close in the top 10 fleet.
So Daniela Moroz, ignore what the tracking is saying there. Moroz is doing absolutely fine, as you can see in the real images there. Moroz, the USA sailor, well, she's not going to go through into tomorrow with a yellow bib. She's going to have the blue bib for being in second. So that gives a marginal advantage to Lauriane Nolot going into the four-board final tomorrow. It could be a critical advantage. Ellie Aldridge, she really suddenly up there? We need to keep an eye on this. Ellie Aldridge now up into second or third. That's quite a jump for Aldridge if that really is the case. So we'll try and update you on that. Daniela Moroz looking extremely relaxed. Her 21 square meter fly surfer swinging up into the air for the final jibe of the afternoon. And Moroz getting onto the final reach across to the finish. Fastest bit of the race course. And just about to cross the line. Let's see what kind of reaction we get from Moroz as she crosses the line. Nice way to finish the afternoon. She's going to hold on to the same color of bib that she's wearing right now. And no real emotion given away there one way or the other. This is Gal Zuckerman.
For the Israeli, is a good result.
Very good result. Absolutely secures her spot going into the final day. And a little bit of a celebration there from Zuckerman. And then it does look like Ellie Aldridge got up into third, just crossing the line behind. And who do we have here? I'm thinking maybe that is Lammert.
Lammert.
And is that Nolot? I can't quite tell.
No, she wasn't before.
So Ellie Aldridge had an incredible climb in that race, and I'm not quite sure how it happened.
No, that must not be.
Well, we saw her cross the finish line. I think Ellie Aldridge did something pretty special at the back end of that race. Now, let's keep the camera on this situation. And Dabson, we think, is somewhere in the top few. We think that Dabson's done enough to hold on to a spot in the 10-board final tomorrow. So the medal series, anybody that makes it into the medal series, if you get into the top 10 by the end of today, you have the opportunity to win overall.
I had Moroz, Nolot, Ellie Aldridge, Gal Zuckerman.
Interesting. Okay, so Aldridge, that's who we're looking at
and
in picture right there. She looks like she had a very good end to that race, and Aldridge should be well placed to hold on to third overall. So she'll be, I was about to say she'll be wearing the red bib tomorrow. Actually, she won't. We only hand out the yellow and the blue bibs on the final day because there's only 2 that are guaranteed to go through to the 4-board final, and that is going to be Lauriane Nolot and Daniela Moroz. Ellie Aldridge and Poema Newland will go in to the semi-finals with 2 race wins apiece. So that means that Aldridge and Newland, all they got to do is win 1 race in their early session in the semi-finals, and that will earn them a spot in the final. So they have the easiest opportunity, whereas the likes of Maddie Anderson, Leonie Meyer, Lammertz, Kampman, Zuckerman and Dabson will have to fight much harder to earn their spot in the four-board final. So congratulations to Daniela Moroz winning the last race of the afternoon, but a bigger congratulations to Lauriane Nolot for winning 4 out of 5 races this afternoon. We will go to an ad break. Back to you soon. So that's the view of the beach as the riders come back ashore at the end of 5 very tough races today. I say that because I said it earlier today. You are basically putting yourself through a 40-knot hairdryer as you ride upwind. You've got 23 knots of upwind speed, and you've got 15 knots of wind blowing across you. So you've got really warm air blowing across the body all the time. And so even though you might have been wet from being in the water, once you're in a race, as long as you don't crash, you dry out pretty quickly, and that is exhausting. That's why they have a lot of the riders have camelbacks on their backs, and they're drinking fluid in between races. Now you can see Mirko walking around the beach looking for his first interview victim. And we see the riders relaxing and starting to put their kites away. And that's Ellie Aldridge. That would be a great target. So let's see if we can get a word with Ellie. And we got Daniela Moroz. Let's see if we can get her. Anytime you like.
Okay, here we are with Daniela, the winner of the last race of the day, finally, to end up with a bullet. So ready for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm stoked. I was really just at the end of the day. So yeah, I'm stoked.
Okay. I will try to switch on and off, let me know, or I need to have Daniela more close. Okay, no, the microphone is working, so that's great. So you said chasing Lauriane. No, Lauriane, she just scored 6 bullets in a row. Amazing. What do you think about what she did?
Yeah, she's just had really good pace all event, and I think she's just doing really, really well. She's super quick, and I've been pushing on her all day, so I was really stoked to finally just get her in that last one. That felt really good, and I'm stoked for tomorrow.
Yes, exactly. With the bullet, you build confidence for tomorrow. That's the medal. It's going to be 4 of really the greatest kite faller on the world tomorrow. So have a rest.
I'm going to need it for tomorrow. Legs are toast.
Great. Thank you, Daniela.
Right, so Daniela Moroz very aware of what she needs to do tomorrow. Remember that Daniela Moroz wasn't beaten for 6 years until the last KiteFoil World Series event, exactly a month ago in Transient, Austria, when she finished in bronze position. And she was beaten by Ellie Aldridge and Julia Damasiewicz. Damasiewicz not here because of injury, but Ellie Aldridge was wearing the yellow bib today, and Aldridge will go into the final day in 3rd place overall, so she has to go into the semi-finals to earn her spot in the 4-board final tomorrow afternoon. Right, we're seeing if we can find somebody else to interview, but we'll go to an ad for the time being.
DR5, built to win.
Okay, that's Ellie Aldridge just talking things through after a really tough day out on the water. And Mirko, what was your sense of Daniela's mood? Mirko's still plugging himself in. That's okay. Yeah. So what was Daniela's mood? Was she?
Daniela, she was really happy to score a bullet on the last race to build confidence for tomorrow. She was impressed about the pace of Lauriane Nolot. 6 bullets in a row, all the bullets today. She was just impressed, so this is why she was really pushing her to get the bullet on the final race.
Interesting that Nolot changed kite and didn't win the race with a different kite.
I think that, honestly, from my point of view, doesn't make really the difference. She had not the perfect start. She went on the pack. She had to stay on the center of the race course. And the one on the front, they had just better air. And Gal Zuckerman and Heli were just faster. And Lauriane, she could not catch up.
Zuckerman started to come alive today, didn't she? I mean, she'd been sitting outside the top 10 all competition, and this afternoon we saw her consistently competing in the front few. So it seems like she's beginning to click with Gizzeria.
I must say that Gal Zuckerman from day one, she scored sometime 3rd, but also 14, 13, a lot of discard in better results. So I guess that Gal, she didn't stay consistent on the result. So maybe sometimes she tried to do some change, some setup, which doesn't really work with her. So maybe now she has the perfect setup for tomorrow.
And Ellie Aldridge, she wore the yellow bib going into today. Moderately good day. Always up in the top few, but didn't manage to win any races today. So of course that makes a big difference. She hasn't earned that spot in the final yet. What would you rather have? Would you rather have the straight run through to the final, or would you like to have the extra practice of getting your eye in on the race course, doing the semi-finals and getting a sense of the conditions?
Honestly, with you, it's always better to go straight on with a couple of bullets, or at least 1 bullet under your belt, and go straight to the medal, the super final. But again, it's just enough a small mistake and you're out of the game, because only the winner of the semi will get the spot into the best 4. So again, it's better to be the first or the second straight to the medal. But we all know from the previous event that Ellie Aldridge, on the final day, she's really focused and she tried to be consistent and not mistake, and try to make herself into the final, I'm pretty sure.
Let's just quickly talk about the boys. Let's get some results up. So let's look at the results. And there are the men. Dennis Taradin. So he will wear the yellow bib going into tomorrow. He will start. He only needs to win 1 more race, and he has secured the defense of his title that he won last year. Tony Vodisek, very clear second place ahead of Lorenzo Boschetti. So Vodisek also through to the final, guaranteed. Boschetti and Pianozzi, the two young Italians, will take either side of the semi-final draw with the advantage of 2 race wins to carry through to that. Mazzella and de Ramacourt, the two very experienced French riders, will take 1 race win through to the semi-finals. And then Bruno Lobo from Brazil, Gruber from Germany, Bainbridge from Britain, and Italy's Mario Calbucci have it all to do tomorrow. But the great thing about this format is that any of those bottom 4 could still emerge tomorrow as the overall winner in Gizzeria. And that's why I love this format so much.
Exactly, you're right, Andy, and this is why a lot of people, once they understand the system, they really love it, because the drama can happen on the last day, and you can play all yourself and put all the cash into the table and see what's going to happen tomorrow.
Just like we saw with Nina Arcic at the Youth Worlds 2 months ago in Torre Grande. I don't know if we have the women's results to update you with yet with that final race, but I think we just have to wait a short while for that, so we can do a quick ad, and then we'll bring you back with the leaderboard for the women.
Meet the R1 V4, our highest performance Olympic and IKA registered racing machine.
Right, so that's the situation here in Gizzeria. Isn't it incredible? Isn't it beautiful? So if we've got the women's results, let's put them up now and see how things work out. I don't think things change very much, because even though Lauriane Nolot didn't win that last race, she is still going to go into the final, and there it is confirmed with the yellow bib. So Nolot with 2 race wins to take into the 4-board final. Moroz with 1 race win. Ellie Aldridge, not such a good day today, which means that she has to fight it out in the semi-finals, with Paola Newland taking the lead in the other semi-final. Look at how Gail Zuckerman has leapt up the rankings today, and she's gone from 11th up to 5th. An incredible performance by the Israeli rider, moving ahead of Annalise Lammertz. And then the bottom 4 that start the semi-finals tomorrow with no advantage. They've got it all to do tomorrow, but they still have a chance to win. Jessie Campton from France, Leonie Meyer from Germany, Maddie Anderson from Great Britain, and Katie Dabson from Great Britain. So, pretty mouth-watering prospect for our final day of racing tomorrow. If you had to put money on anyone tomorrow, who would it be for the women? Do you think Lauriane Nolot is going to see this one through to victory?
Yeah, let's see how it's going to work for the wind. Let's have a look on the forecast later on. It seems that the breeze will continue blow on the beautiful race course in Gizzeria. It's going to be a big battle for sure, and Lauriane Nolot and Daniela Moroz on the last day, she will use all the card in her pocket to get another win. So
Dennis Taradin, he has the benefit of being able to go into the final day knowing that he also won last year, whereas Tony Vodisek, this is new territory for Tony. Do you think Tony's got the mental strength to be able to beat Dennis tomorrow?
Yeah, about Tony. Tony, we all know that he's super faster. But on the previous event, he paid off some mistake on the last day. So he come to the last day perfect, ready to win, and for whatever reason, there is always something that take him away from a possible win. So let's hope that the battle will be open and no extra mistake and got the best 4 into the final tomorrow.
Lorenzo Boschetti and Riccardo Pianozzi, both from Italy, both young, both riders that you know very well. They hold the advantage going into those semi-finals, so it's quite possible that you could see 2 Italians in the 4-board final. Then I know who you'll be cheering for. Well, I don't know which Italian actually, but...
No, I'm happy if both of them, they can make it to be into the super final. It will be amazing, because having 2 Italian so talented is really great. Has been done a really great job on the past few months, and then having Pianozzi and Boschetti together with Tony, it's gonna be just insane. And see Dennis, obvious, he want to hold the trophy for next year, for the last year, I mean.
Well, let's see. It's already been a great day today, Mirka. I've really enjoyed it. I'm going to enjoy tomorrow even more, because I have every faith that Gizzeria will continue to deliver, like clockwork, the great conditions that it seems to. The reputation of this place is so well known. My first time in Gizzeria, and it's living up to all expectations. So from me, Andy Rice, and from Mirko Bobini, president of the IKA, I hope you've enjoyed this afternoon and everything that we brought you. It's going to be even better tomorrow. We are going to find out tomorrow afternoon who is the winner of KiteFoil World Series Gizzeria. We look forward to seeing you again then. See you soon.
Ciao.